Hello, is a forged thing number.
Hi, everybody.
That's the number. That's the one.
We're gonna watch a good Canadian film today.
Wow, spoilers. It's not like the title is in the title, but
Yeah, they know why we're here,
they know. Yeah.
even though we've not mentioned it yet.
No, I mean I didn't know we are gonna watch this until a couple of days ago. But you threw that in my face, like, you know what? Let's do it. That sounds fun.
Just because it's short, and we on EFAP 2 weeks ago, I guess it was brought up, and it just made me really want to watch it again. And
Oh,
then I
okay.
did watch it again. And was like, yeah, you should watch this movie. It's really good.
Yeah, I like that you keep throwing these random old movies towards me that I've never seen. This like gives me the opportunity to actually watch them, and then we
I
get to
mean,
talk about them.
and then we're never gonna really be hard up for a pre-record. Because
No,
like
no.
we should just pick a random movie that I think might be worth talking about,
Oh,
whether
there's
it's
there's
good or bad.
there's plenty of old movies I still need to watch or want to rewatch or whatever. I don't think we're gonna be running out of any movies to talk about, or just topics
I
in
don't think
general.
so.
Things are happening in the world on a daily basis that you can talk
Yes,
about.
time keeps moving ever forward.
It sure does. The
Puppies.
dog agrees too.
I
But
think
yeah,
X-Ray
if
Girl's actually leaving the house right now, so they're
nah.
wondering where Mama's going.
If you guys wondering why my voice is still sounding a little weird, it's not because I'm drumming this time. I still have a little bit of that cold running around that I got myself while I was on vacation. That was cool. One of our friendos got sick the first day, and then he infected all of us, and we all caught the ill-tisms. And
F.
yeah, and so I came back home. Was like, I'm gonna call in sick for the rest of the week. um, but yeah, so there might be some fleemy voice stuff happening like this. But today we're
I
gonna, yeah, go ahead.
I will do my best to not cough.
That's allowed. Coughing is allowed, I think. Whatever. But yeah, of course we're gonna be talking about a history of violence.
Yeah.
It's from
With Viggo
2000 and
Mortensen.
it's from 2005, which is
There we go.
interesting to me because when I first started watching, it's like this doesn't look like it's from 2005. This looks like a 90s movie. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a very sort of limited scope movie,
Hmm.
and I think David Cronenberg's direction is like obviously like he was a big director in like the 80s and 90s, so I think a lot of it too is just his style kind of coming through.
Right, right.
And I don't know. I've always really liked this movie. You're saying the year that makes perfect sense because me seeing it in about second year of university, I think
Mm.
is roughly the timeline I was thinking it was. And yeah, it's always one that stuck with me because actually an adaptation of a graphic novel, and
Oh, okay, graphic novel.
it's
Okay.
a it's probably the one of the best sort of, I don't know, just like the action movie's not really the word for it. Violent thriller that
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's
has a
probably a
bit
good
of a
way to put it.
western vibe to it, like a man just trying to protect his home with almost sort of a film noir thing of like they all think he's this guy, he swears he's not. So there's a bit of mystery there where
Yeah,
you don't necessarily know who's telling the truth for a good chunk of the movie, but they don't leave that unresolved, which, like, I mean, Cronenberg is known for doing some abstract stuff in some of his
right.
movies, but that's not the case here. This movie's pretty straightforward, really, like after you get the twist. And yeah, and I thought it would be one that would be worth watching. A lot of good performances in it, good actors.
Oh yeah.
The
Uh,
late not John Hurt, William Hurt as the brother at the very end there.
I see. No, I just had something in my brain, but it's gone. So, never mind. Oh, right. Yeah, a tidbit that I picked up while reading some stuff up. This was one of the last big movies that was put out on VHS tapes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Neat. I
Just,
guess yeah, that would make sense. This was right before the Xbox 360 era, I guess. So it's like DVDs had been around for the entire PS2 generation. And
yeah,
actually, thinking of it in console generations is somewhat important because one of the reasons DVD took off as a format is because of the PS2. It was one of the first
that makes a
affordable
lot of
DVD
sense. Yeah.
players. and it was the thing everyone needed for that Christmas. So they were in a good spot.
Oh yeah.
Xbox and GameCube didn't come out till the next year either.
God, VHS tapes. That feels like another life ago.
Yeah.
I had VHS. I'm pretty sure I had like the Western Godzilla movie. I had that on VHS back in the day as a little boy
Yeah.
child. Had a
As
lot of.
the old '90s kid movies like Independence Day,
Oh yeah.
Godzilla.
And
Maybe
the very
Stargate, anything that Roland Emmerich directed ended up in people's houses in VHS.
yeah, very first gory movie I've seen when I wasn't even 18 yet. It was like a Brain Dead. I don't know the
Brain
undertitle
Dead.
of it, like the Zombie Lawnmower Man or something.
Zombie Lawnmower Man.
I think that
Like,
was the German undertitle. I just
Oh, man.
translated that, but I think is it even called Brain Dead in English? That's a fun. Let me check. I need to know
I mean,
that
is it a virtual reality autistic guy that is also a
now.
zombie?
No, it's like
or are we
Brain Dead, like zombie Brain Dead. It's from 1990. It's a horror comedy. Oh, yeah, it is.
Wait, is that the Peter Jackson one, Dead Alive? Because that's a
Yes,
zombie
yes. I
movie
just
in which, yeah, okay. Because I was about to say, I was like, there is a scene in that film in which someone messes up a zombie with a lawnmower.
yeah, yeah. And
And
I'm
I was
pretty
like,
sure
the timeline sounds about right. But yeah, it's director of Lord of the Rings.
I'm pretty sure the subtitle of that movie in German was the Zombie Lawnmower Man or something.
I mean, it's puts in the title what you're there to see, I suppose.
Let me check.
Yeah, no, Dead Alive is good. That's it's sort of it makes you realize that Peter Jackson kind of came out of the same tradition as like a Sam Raimi, because you see what he does on a low budget, and he's just got this really great eye for shooting gore and action and horror.
That's a movie I need to rewatch. That was like one of those. It was like an 18 plus movie that I smuggled out of my parents' flat and to watch with friends at a friend's place. It was really fun. Good memories.
The New Zealand a zombie movie.
Really, really fun. Yeah, it's like one of these. Ooh, it's a forbidden movie. I'm like, I don't know, I was like 13, 14 or something. And then just smuggled that out of the house. Good times, good times. But yeah, we watched that.
I think I might have bought it on DVD like when I was 22 or something. Like I saw it later.
Oh my god, Amazon has a special uncut edition. in a little paper sleeve as well. That brings me back, dude.
I mean, if you want, we could do a Dead Alive episode at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
It's been years since I've seen it, and I remember enjoying it.
That might be just a fun thing to do on like Halloween or something.
Yeah, to me, it's Dead Alive. To Metal, it's Brain Dead Zombie Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, I checked that was the subtitle in German. I just checked because I wasn't 100% sure anymore. But yeah, Brain Dead Zombies.
I just get like this picture in my head of this German film executive just being like, "We must not call it Dead Alive. Because it's not a good title. How about we put the marketing right up front? Call it Zombie Lawnmower Man."
But still, it's Brain Dead, the Zombie Lawnmower Man.
It's like, why do you call it this? Like, Lawnmower Man.
I don't know, because Germans are fucking
Stevie.
stupid.
No, like the other guy in the interview, and he's like, no, he's like, we need to tell people that a zombie gets killed by a lawnmower.
It's the best scene. We
Otherwise
need to
they
put it
won't-
in the
they-
title.
Trust me, it's why people are here.
Yeah, good times when things were easier because you didn't give a shit about stuff.
Ah, yes. Without having bills to pay, that was a time in life.
Oh god, imagine not having to pay rent every month. Fucking fantastic. Still the worst feeling in the world. Yay, there's my paycheck, and over half of it is gone. It's like, aw.
And it's gone.
Rent, insurance, all the fuckery you need to pay for.
Yeah. It's not a whole lot cheaper when you own a house either, especially if you just get a bathroom renovated.
Oh, I bet. But yeah, A History of Violence is what we're watching, and I think it's just fun to just talk about the title itself. I did a little bit of reading up what people thought because of the title. And apparently a lot of people immediately, at least back in the day when it came out, were like, "Oh, this is about America and its history of violence."
That's like not at all.
But
It's far lower scale than that.
it's far lower scale, but also it's just like you can put it in such a broad sense in general. Like history of violence, like a person, a country, the whole world. Like what is the history of violence? You know, there's so many things you could talk about. Like are we talking about that it is used to settle disputes violently a lot of times throughout the history of the world, or just people again? Like there's so many layers you can apply that to. I don't know, the strongest or the most violent, however you want to call it, is the winner, overcomes the leader. And then you can also talk about what are the repercussions of violence, or in what context will those apply. If you just go around and kill people randomly, you have different repercussions than, say, for example, someone attacks you first and you attack someone in self-defense. You know, violence has a lot of very different
Utility.
layers and types that it can apply to.
Yeah, and I think that in this movie, it sort of it works on a few levels. Both the character Tom / Joey, his characters not being able to escape his past in a way, like knowing that the history of violence is, it could be a character description for if he's like if there's a warrant out for his arrest, right? Like this person is known to be at large in this area and has a history of violence is generally how that term would be used. But it's also his violent history is the reason he can't just be a normal person, no matter how much he wants to and how much he's trying to. Oh, I mean, I guess I'm kind of spoiling the movie off the bat for everybody. So hopefully you've seen the movie by now. But the idea that you can be a person who just killed a bunch of people and then go away and start a happy life will always be more complicated than just being able to like move to a different town, change your name, and you're done, right? Because something might happen, like you not being able to escape your nature, that when you see a person being held at gunpoint, and I guess we're jumping ahead now to the first sort of sequence in there in the diner, and he can't just cooperate and let that woman be hurt and be scared and hide. He like it's not in his nature. Right. In his nature, if he's threatened like that, or if someone who he cares about is threatened, he turns into the same person that he used to be. And that comes up even in a line of dialogue a bit later. But I don't know. What are you thinking as far as that stuff goes?
There's a lot of things going on with this. A lot of setups going on as well. Especially like very very early on when they talk about the monster in the cupboard of Sarah, like the daughter. And I was like, oh, that's what we're doing. I see. Because if you pay attention, you can already tell what the twist is going to be. I was pretty confident that he is going to be the guy they think he is. Just how he presents himself in certain scenarios and how things are presented in the movie in general.
And especially watching it a second time, that it gets more apparent. Like the mystery really only works the first time, and it's not because you now know the twist. It's because because you know the twist, you will immediately pick up on all the things that make it seem like no, he's really just trying as hard as he can to double down and lie his way through the situation, so that they just go away and leave him alone and actually think maybe it's just a guy who looks like him.
Yeah, because even though I was pretty confident that it's gonna. That the things are happening like they do happen in the movie, I was still like, maybe they are wrong. Maybe this is just all a weird coincidence and he does look like it, but obviously that's not the case. But he just keeps being so adamant, and I was like, no, I've never been to Philly. I don't know what you're talking about. And then in contrast, you have like how the way he behaves in the scenarios is like, I don't know, I just don't believe you fully, but you're also very adamant to everybody.
Well, I mean, because Viggo Mortensen also plays him so sincerely.
Yeah.
Like he really does seem like he's just like, hey, look, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm not this guy. I don't know why they think I am, and I hope we get to the bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, from Joey's perspective, the second he tells the truth, he might lose everything.
Yeah.
Like he was like, well, I mean, if I do this, that means that at the very least, my wife is going to be aware of the things that I did in my previous life, things that were illegal, things that don't have a statute of limitations, because apparently he's killed a bunch of people, and I doubt you get much leniency for pulling someone's eye out with barbed wire, or blinding a person by torturing them with barbed wire or something. That's the kind of stuff you will still end up going to jail for. So you can also sort of understand from his perspective if he's just thinking, I can't tell the truth. I have to lie.
Yeah.
There's like lying, telling the truth isn't an option. I've just got to deny, and hope this situation kind of resolves itself.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I guess we can just jump into it, because the intro doesn't even have any of our main characters. We just follow these two fellas, an older guy and a bit of a younger guy. I think the younger guy was called Billy. I think he gets like he gets the name a little bit. I just called him younger and older guy because, I mean, they're not a big part of the movie, but they play a key role, you could say. But they're just coming out of a motel, and it's kind of a great scene. I don't know. I really like the scene because there's no music.
Yeah.
They're just kind of talking. You can tell there's some kind of tension going on, like something has been happening. And
there's this sense of dread.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what's going on? Like the sun is out. Looks like they're already sweating. The one guy even says like, oh, so early and it's already so hot. It's like so annoying. The one guy's like, oh man, I think I'm tired. It's like, sucks. And it's like, well, you just gonna go grab the car, drive in front of the office. I'm gonna go check out, and then we can move. And also the way they say it's like, oh, so we're just gonna keep moving east. It's like, yeah, stay out of the big cities, the big towns. You can already tell it's like, okay, they did something illegal.
Yeah,
you don't know
these
what
guys
yet,
are
but
on the run for something, but we don't know what.
Yeah, and it's all like one shot, one continuous shot. Like it's just complete silence. The one guy.
It's not a very interesting shot either, as far as like camera movement go. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's very simple.
It does a really good job of making you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, what's going on? Are they gonna like? This almost feels like they have tension towards each other as well, because it was like, hey, how are we for water? It almost gives you a little bit of it almost gives you a vibe of the younger guy doesn't even want to be here, like he's been forced to be here.
Yep.
Because he's kind of been like not abusive, but just mean. It's like, well, water's empty. There's a cooler in the back. Go fucking grab some. I was like, yeah, fine.
The second you realize that they're like, how are we doing for water? And it's like, oh crap, we have to go back inside for it. You really get the impression that it's like, okay, so they can't just stop at a gas station and buy some water.
Yeah,
that's not an option for them right now. So they need to actually worry about things like being hydrated, which it's something that, like, I guess when people are on the run, they just so often don't tackle in movies. And it was a neat thing to see two presumed criminals in a situation where it's like, well, they need water though, because they are still human.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you can get water anywhere. It's like, can you get any water anywhere without like going into a place and being on some cameras and stuff?
Well, then he does go inside. He does like something I found weirdly relatable. He sees like the little telephone and just pushes the button and sees if a coin comes out, like some change is still in there.
Yeah.
Which I still see myself doing every time I walk past like a cigarette vending machine, which I have. There's like one at the corner. Every time I check, it's like, oh, maybe someone forgot some cash in there. Yeah. I do it every time.
Well, I mean, if
I found €6 in one of these things before, so It's worth
There you
it.
go. That's no small chunk of change.
Yeah,
It's like 50 Canadian dollars.
probably.
No, not exactly, but still, the euro is definitely a lot more than a Canadian dollar. It's like $1.50 or something.
But he kind of rummages around a little bit. He's like, oh, checking this shit out, this thing, blah blah blah. Uh, I think he even grabs like a can. For some reason, I was paying like super attention to what he's doing because I thought this might come in later at some point. Like he's just doing some shenanigans, but no, he's just looking at things. He grabs a can of soda or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm gonna grab this while I go out.
I
Like,
think
might as
that
well.
might have been a funding thing because I noticed two distinct cans of mug root beer in the
Oh,
movie.
okay.
So, it is possible they're like, hey, why don't you throw a couple root beer cans in the movie? But
Oh, okay. That's a fair. That might be, that might be a thing. Yeah, I didn't recognize those, but yeah, yeah. I know, he's just kind of rummaging around. I think he's just checking if there's anything he might need on the road while he's there. But obviously, we see well at least two dead people in this office, and you also hear like flies buzzing around, meaning
yeah,
that they probably killed them last night and just stayed in the motel, get some rest, and just now move along. It just shows like they just don't give a shit. They're just ruthless killers. Like you could already just like, yeah, those are
these are
evil
not
people.
good people.
And if you're not convinced
men.
yet, a child comes out of the the office room,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, what? Oh shit! Do we have to take the girl with them? And he's like, oh, don't worry, and he just fucking shoots her right in the face, probably.
Yep.
I was like,
And
dang,
that's
okay.
the beginning of the movie.
I was like, well, these guys are probably our evil men for the movie. At least that's what I thought. What we're gonna do? Like they're gonna, I don't know, cross paths with our protagonist, and those will be our antagonists. But this is not really where we're going. They do cross paths, but it goes not as I thought it would have.
Yeah, they're not in the film for too long, but I mean
No.
they're important.
Yeah,
as far as the function they play in the story.
That's what I mean with they do play a key role, but they're not around for.
Not major characters.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
important side characters.
Right, let me just grab this. Because now we move. It's kind of fun because like the first 20-ish minutes after this is probably like it's like a whole different movie. Like
yeah,
it's
no, it seems like it went from being like a Quentin Tarantino crime movie or like Coen Brothers or something to just like, you know, a family comedy about a small town and a guy who runs a diner. You know?
Mhm.
It's the most wholesome town you can imagine.
Oh, it's lovely. I would like to live there. It was so nice. But from the shooting of the child, we cut. So we don't see the child getting shot. Like we don't even hear a
No,
gunshot.
no.
It just cuts hard to Sarah waking up, which is the daughter of the family we're following around here. From a bad dream. He's just like,
From a nightmare,
ah, and like the whole family is coming there to just take care of her. It's like, oh, it's fine. It's just, what did you dream about? It's like, oh, this monster. It's like, don't worry, that can't be. Monsters aren't real. It's like, yeah, but they were in my closet. Which is like, I think we're hitting a theme here already. It's like, I think I know what we're doing. Also, that dog is not happy today.
Yeah, no, I was hoping that he'd calm down. There must be someone outside. Right
As soon as you set up the calm down, just goes crazy. But yeah, they're just kind of consoling her. It's like, it'll be fine. It's like, just go ahead and go back to bed. Monsters aren't real. And it's like, the brother comes in. It's like, don't worry. They're scared of the light anyway. So as soon as you turn on the lights, it's gonna be fine, because they're scared of the light. And then the mother comes in, and
He was quiet for like a solid 30 seconds though.
sorry. Oh, right.
No, he was like the second I unmuted, he barks right before I got to say what I was gonna say. But I was just gonna say, yeah, the idea of the monster being hidden, like not being
Yeah,
obviously apparent, but when things are out in the open, you can see who the monsters really are, like or that they get repelled by light.
yeah. But it's also just a wholesome scene because the youngest daughter just wakes up screaming. It's like scared of the monsters from the dream, and everyone's like, "Ah, he'll be fine." It's like, "I'm gonna leave my nightlight on." It's like, "Yeah, that's a very smart idea." It's just very, family, just a normal
Yeah,
family.
kind of things that you do to calm down a little kid who had a nightmare. If I could only calm down this puppy.
Mm-hmm. Um. But. Oh God, I could keep. I need to get better with these notes. I need to move them quicker. Anyway. Um. Yeah. So probably should point out like this was not meant as like a literal dream in case that wasn't like clear. Like these are real people we've seen before. Like we see them again. Uh, just in case that wasn't clear. Just want to make that. Um.
Yes, only the little girl was having a dream.
Yeah, that's just how we cut to her and get to the next scene. It's not the girl that was shot was not the same girl that woke up in the house.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. It's the girl who got shot actually got shot, and
Oh
the
yeah,
girl in the house is a different girl. She's the protagonist's child.
yeah.
One of them, one of the two.
Uh, and yeah, just we go to the next day. They're just having breakfast, just normal conversations going. It's like, hey, what you up to today, Jack? It's like, oh, I'm gonna play some baseball at gym class, and I'm gonna suck at the thing. And the dad's like, I'll be fine. Just do your best. Blah blah. It's all so normal. It almost pisses you off. It's like, oh, this is just normal. Why is it so normal? It's suspiciously normal, you know.
Yep,
Like then he's like,
they're the
oh dear, can
poster
you?
card family.
Yeah, it's
Like
like,
they're
oh dear, the pickup truck is still not working. Can you drop me off at work? It's like, oh, of course, I love you. It's like, okay, what is happening? What are we doing? They're all suspicious. Who did they kill? Do they have a meth lab in their basement? Um, but this is just gonna be going on for quite a bit.
yeah, a solid 20 minutes or so, I'd say, before anything
Yeah,
really
probably.
pops off. But
But
it's not an overly long movie, so while 20 minutes might not seem like a good chunk of time, that actually is. It's a good little bit of the movie where we're just following Tom's life, and I would argue it's important setup because
oh, for sure, we
especially for setting up the mystery element because you need to not know how crazy this story is going to get.
yeah.
Like,
Um, but yeah, he's Tom. He's got a diner that he I guess he owns. Is the idea? He doesn't work there. He owns that thing.
mhm.
Um, like he arrives there. Wife is dropping him off. There's like some litter in front of the door, and the big window. It just picks it up, throws it away. And then he comes in, and the one guy says, "Oh, what is your craziest girlfriend you've ever met?" And it's like, what is happening? Just having a normal conversation. But then again, this conversation is actually kind of on theme as well
Yeah,
for how the movie ends, because
exactly.
the guy talks about, it's like, oh, it's like this, I had this crazy girl that just attacked me sometimes when I was asleep. She had like these crazy dreams and just stabbed me in the neck with a fork. It was blood everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, it's in the shoulder.
And on the shoulder,
Stab
yeah.
me with a fork in the shoulder.
It's like, wait,
The,
so
the
but
neck would have been more bizarre, but the shoulder, it's almost like you could see him being like, yeah, this girl's crazy and I should break up with her, but maybe she doesn't deserve to go to jail for this.
Yeah.
Like maybe she might have just been the kind of person who has dreams and then wakes up and is dissociative and doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
But it's the idea of that there being a darkness that some people just have in their nature that they can't really control entirely.
Yeah.
even if they seem like normal people most of the time, is sort of the point of that story, and it's shockingly relevant for what happens later this night.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you obviously left her, right? He's like, no, I married her.
Yeah, yeah, that's
6 years we were married. Nobody's perfect. I was like, oh, that's a funny story. But it's very, as you already said, it's really very relevant to the ending.
hey, some guys like girls with a little bit of edge. You know?
Yeah.
Been there myself, boys. It's okay.
No,
Just understand when it's time to leave.
yeah. It's like she stabbed me in the shoulder like
Yeah.
18th time. I think it's good. It's
Once
good now.
edged weapons come into play, I think you should probably call it a day.
I draw the line at a fork.
It's probably best for you if you move on. Or yeah, I guess edged or pointy weapons.
Yeah.
Penetrating or lacerating trauma.
But now that his day is going, he's just working there. We go to Jack and follow his day for the time. But yeah, he is a gym class now, and they do play baseball, and it's like, I'm gonna just do the thing. And then we got the high school bully. He's like,
Yeah.
look how cocky I am. Me. He's like the most annoying type of high school bully.
He really is. He's such a stereotypical high school bully. In fact, I think if anything, this movie might have been improved by a little bit by him being written with a little bit more subtlety, because he's very just like
Yeah.
you know, like a typical what would be the word for it, profile of a high school
Yeah.
jock bully who picks on the, you know, kind of dorky but sort of cool in his own way, like skater kid, which is, or I mean, I don't know if a skater, but yeah, he's a pothead. Like you see him like smoking weed with his girlfriend or presumed girlfriend, and even they like see him there. They're like, look at that fucker over there. Hey, he's just smoking a joint with a girl, man.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, I'm just showing him on screen here. You can't see it obviously, but just if you see his face, like, yeah, he's a bully. Like just the way he looks, like he's he's like in the looks department, he looks very much like a bully. It's very fitting. He goes like, oh, I'm just gonna do a home run here. But then Jack, that bastard, he actually catches the ball and wins the game for the yellow team. And it was like, damn it. It's kind of fun because Jack's like, oh shit, nice, I did catch it. That's nice. And
he was just like, wow, what do you know? That was the one day of the year that I actually did a good thing in sports class.
Yeah. And the coach or teacher is like, good job. It's like, yeah, thanks, man. And I think at this point, it's like, yeah, it was cool. Anyway, moving on. Like, it's just a gym class.
Yeah,
Like,
he really didn't care about it. Like, to him, baseball is the thing that he has to do at school sometimes. It's not something he, like, loves or anything like that.
yeah.
And,
But man, the gym the bully, he was very into it.
He's like, you think you're hot shit, eh? Catching my hit. It's like,
It's like,
I mean,
it's just
like,
it's just a game, man. It's just a stupid gym
man,
class.
yeah,
What do you want?
Let the ball fly over your head, and like I was just following the rules. And but, like, I mean, it's crazy with it being a class and not like a big game or anything. 'Cause, like,
It seems
really,
silly,
this guy
doesn't
has
it?
No reason to be this pissed.
Like, he doesn't even say, "Oh, you embarrassed me in front of my friends." He's just like, "Oh, you feel you hot shit, right?" It's like, no, not really. I just caught the ball.
Yeah, and like, because he's like saying like, "Oh yeah, you think you're better than me?" It's like, I don't know, man. Like, you hit the ball, it went towards me, I caught it this time. I normally don't catch it. Like, what do you want?
Maybe even got lucky. I don't know. It's just,
The thing that's interesting about it, though, is I think Jack's doing everything he possibly can to de-escalate the situation. Just be like, look, I'll give you everything you want, okay? I'm an F slur. I'm a wimp. I'm not good at sports, and you're cooler than me in every way. Like, what do you want?
He does outwit him for sure. It's just
yeah, like accidentally though. He outwits him by trying to give him what he wants.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that made you look pretty stupid, didn't it?
But yeah, it's just funny because he's like, "Oh, you have some hot shit." He's like, "It's just gym class. I'm not even that invested. What do you want from me?" Because he says it's just a game, just stupid gym class. He just says the most.
Yeah, which I guess the sports star at the school didn't really like hearing. He's like, "What do you mean it's stupid?"
No, he says, "Who are you calling stupid?" It's like,
yeah.
The class. Like, I wasn't even talking about you. I think he even points there. I was like, I called the gym class stupid. But that bully he really wants to fight Jack.
Yeah, it's like it's all he wants in life, really.
It's like he pushes him. He's like, "What do you say? Oh yeah, I guess yeah. You're clearly the alpha male here, or whatever he says." And yeah, he like the bully calls him a big old baguette.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, you're
Most
right.
cool Melanie Mac word.
I'm a little chicken shit baguette. You're clearly better. Now leave me alone, basically. But the bully really wants to fight. He's like, "Gore, fuck you." It's like, "Oh, are you?" He's like, "Hey, yo, let's do this, you chicken shit." This is what I've written down. And Jack says, Jack just says,
the implication I think of this guy wanting to fight Jack so bad is because he perceives Jack as being weaker than him. He's the guy who has the bravado of someone who has that sort of violent edge, but he's not really that guy. Like,
yeah,
I think that's kind of what I got from it. That's like he's all bark and not really any bite, whereas Jack is doing his best not to bark.
yeah,
Like he's like, I want to do anything but bark right now. I don't want to bark. I don't want to bite. Just stop it. Like, can we just move away? When because of, I guess, his lineage, Jack's got a bit of a dark side too that he's clearly holding back here, and I think that his character gets quite interesting in the second and third acts of the movie.
yeah, because I think he takes the wrong lessons from what happens with his dad.
Yeah.
When we get there. But it's just funny. It's like, "Yo, let's do this, you chicken shit." And then Jack says, wouldn't that just funny, 'cause wouldn't that be chicken shit, little punk bitch baguette?"
Yeah.
Is that what
Like,
it would be?
Yeah, he repeats all of them. He's like, didn't you forget a couple of the other things you called me? And then everyone kind of chuckles. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, yeah. You're just throwing insult after insult at this guy, and he's clearly not very bothered. Like,
Yeah.
he's just like, look, I don't care what you call me. I don't want to fight you. I just want to go home.
Yeah,
Why
like,
are we doing this?
I don't even care that much about that stupid ball game. I thought it was kind of cool. I caught that, and yeah, get wrecked, basically. Yeah, it's that made me laugh. That scene made me actually laugh when I first watched it. It's like, because he gets like frustrated. It's like, "Oh God, fine, let's just leave."
Oh, I guess the other thing. I mean, maybe we haven't got to it yet, but the cheerleader sequence is that after the school day or before? Have we jumped ahead of it?
Cheerleader sequence?
When she has a surprise for him in the bedroom.
Oh, that's coming up
Okay,
next.
okay.
Because this
I
movie
just
has
wanted to make sure we
two
didn't go
sexy
past.
scenes that actually have implications to the story, which
Yeah,
is very interesting.
that's the thing, that they're not just gratuitous sex scenes. It's two very, very different sex scenes, and they tell a bit of a story.
Yeah. But the first was like, why is this so long? Why is this so? And then it's like, oh, the second one has like,
you actually
oh,
you understand the gratuity of the
I
first
see.
sex scene when you see the second one, and you're like, oh, okay.
yeah.
Cronenberg's doing something. He's
also-
not afraid of sexual content in his films.
No. There's also one bit of foreshadowing kind of dealio going on, because the bully says to Jack, "Oh, are you like some hero that comes in at the last second?" When I heard that, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna save someone 100%." And he sure does.
Yeah, well, when we get to that, we could talk about the interesting dual read of Jack, because I think you're absolutely right when you say he takes the wrong lessons from what his father was doing, but ultimately it's that kind of killer instinct that he has which saves the day. And yeah, I thought that was kind of neat, but we'll get to that part.
Also, I'm sorry for the coughing once in a while. That's
okay. Hey, I've got barking dogs. You've got coughing. We'll figure it out someday.
Oh, as soon as this cold is completely gone, I'm gonna be fine.
All right. I just have to wait till the next time X-Ray Girl prepares dinner, I suppose.
And yeah, we go back to the diner. We see that the wife, Edie, is her name. I don't think I've mentioned that yet.
Played by Maria Bello, who is gorgeous.
Yes. She's just picking them up, and Space like, well, the kids are taken care of. Let's have some fun. It's like, yay, we love fun. And he's like, well, we never got to be teenagers together, so we're gonna change that. And they go back home, or like to a motel, a hotel. No, they go home, right?
Yeah, I think they're home.
Yeah. And she comes in the room with a cheerleader outfit on. That's what you were.
Yeah, presumably her old one, because it does
Yeah.
look like a cheerleader outfit from like the 80s or 70s.
Yeah, I'm just gonna show it here on the stream. And
Probably 80s.
Tom's reacts like, "Holy cow!" So yeah, he's very into it, understandably.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
Well,
they
aren't we all? But yeah, and I think
yeah.
that the important thing to highlight about this sex scene is that it's incredibly loving
Yeah.
and very highly intimate.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear that these two people love each other very, very much.
Oh
And
yeah.
are connected on the kind of level that most of us could only ever hope. You know, like they're the perfect couple.
Yeah,
Or
it's
at
like,
least it would seem in this scene.
because all playful, she does like some cheerleading stuff, like "Go Wildcats" or whatever she says. It's like, oh, that's fun. And then they have like
Like,
very.
actually, does he say the words "I'm the luckiest man alive"? I think he might.
I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna skip over that just in case YouTube doesn't like that, even though there's something above it. But you know, YouTube, it's gonna be YouTubing. Yeah, they have some sexy times,
Mm-hmm.
and they you can tell they're a loving couple, very loving, very passionate. And I think my note here is always like, it's all very normal. I can't wait for everything to go to shit.
Yep.
And I wasn't aware how fitting that note would be at that time, because like clockwork, we see those criminals again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a little thing before where Jack and his friend, female friend, I don't think it's his girlfriend, I think it's just homies. At least it doesn't look like they're. Oh wait, I need to change the visuals. But yeah, they're just hanging out, smoking a joint together, just having a gay old time. I don't recall anything super important from that scene. Maybe you got something.
No, not really.
I think they just have. For some reason, I remember them just having stoner talk. I don't know.
The only thing that really happens is the bullies pull up and they seem like they're gonna go interact with them, but then they interact with the criminals at the light.
Oh yeah,
And
that's what I would have.
It's very clear
moved on
that.
to.
Yeah. But I'm saying that like there's nothing really happens in the scene with the girl and them smoking the joint. They're just kind of talking about how stupid things are at school and stuff.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the function of it's mostly to reintroduce the villains.
But yeah, the bully is here is like, hey, oh yeah, the bully Fred is like, you should go kick his ass. Like, yeah, I will. And then he just tries to cut in line and almost runs into the two criminals from the beginning. And I think we have a very interesting dynamic here, which all just goes back to the history of violence, if you will.
Yeah.
Because you have you have two different kinds of violence clash,
different types of bullies,
if you will. So
you have the bully who's all bark, and the bully who is and the bullies who are legitimate killers. Like are actually like they will actually mess you up.
yeah. So what I found fun, they almost crash into each other. We first cut to our bullies, and you can see him here. He's like, screw you. Wait, what did... I flamed it. Wait, what?
Don't flame it.
Wait, something's not working properly. I'm trying to show some... Oh, there you go. Sorry, OBS had a tism there. So they stop. The bullies almost immediately goes like flips off, like, what the fuck? And then we cut over to the other two guys, and you just see them staring holes in them, like
Yeah.
emotionless. It's
Like,
just the
it'd be
difference
like
is
it'd be
insane.
like what would happen if Rocky started barking at like a wolf,
Yeah,
and the wolf just stared him down, and he was like, "Oh."
it's just a fun thing, and obviously we have something going on here, because it's just this almost this instinct the bully has, like, oh fuck, I don't, like he stops doing, he's like, oh well, just looks down a little bit, and the friend's like, who the fuck were those guys? He's like, I don't know, what, I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, I see. Because you have this bully tough guy who, oh, you just, someone who thinks he is like this tough guy who can just beat everybody up, versus someone who we saw killed a child and
Yeah.
two other people earlier. And
With basically no remorse, like no
no,
hint of shit in his eyes. More like, oh man, I gotta waste a bullet.
it's like it's this almost this aura around these two guys. They just look at these guys. They don't even react really. Like they're not even annoyed it happened. They just look at them. I was like, the fuck do you want flipping me off? You know, it's just go away. And he immediately gets the message like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't want to find out who that is. I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna drive home or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, it's just funny. He's like, yeah, I don't even want to know who that was. It's just I'm just gonna I'm out of here. Yeah, it's just they don't even say a lot. You can just tell everything by what is
Yeah.
presented on
I mean,
screen.
good
It's
good performances.
great. It's almost like we establish power levels by intimidating
Yeah,
factor.
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
The high school bully is at a very low power level, and it's enough to be bothersome to Jack, and enough that he doesn't want to like set the kid off or anything. But
Yeah.
nothing compared to people who are the actual monsters in the closet.
Yeah. Also interesting, we follow them around for a little bit because they're like, oh man, this is really annoying. I'm so sick of these tiny like towns and villages. Also, we're really fucking broke. I was like, oh well, we can easily fix that. And immediately was like, oh, they're going to the diner. This is where our people are gonna clash. And that's what they do. Also, worth pointing out, which I just think is a really great little detail. They don't have the same car anymore. They wear the same clothes, but they ditched the car somewhere
Yeah.
and changed to this one. Because I think they said like they've been on the road for like 10,000 miles or something. Like they've been going around for a while, running away from the police or some other mobsters or whatever they did. We don't know, and it doesn't really matter. But just some good detail there. But yeah, they make their way to the diner. They're about to close, and they go in there, and it's all very tense. He's like, "Oh, sorry, lads, we're closing down." Tom says, and it's like, "No, I'm gonna take a coffee, and yeah, I'm gonna take some of that lemon pie over there."
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't think you understand. We're like, we're closing. It's like, I want some fucking pie. Like he gets really angry immediately. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Off the bat, he's proving to be a problem.
yeah. And it's to me it was very obvious that he knows what's up. You know, like he immediately goes like, oh, it's fine, Charlotte. I got this. You can go home.
Yeah,
just
he
make
dismisses the waitress immediately.
Yeah, because he knows like, oh, these guys are gonna be trouble, and I don't want her to be in trouble for no reason, basically. It's like, oh, I got this. You can go for the night. So yeah, as I said, trying to get her out of danger. But obviously, before she gets to leave, the younger two grabs her and tells her, you know what? I think you're gonna stay for a bit. And makes the sign to closed or puts down the blinds or something. Oh no, he locks the door. He locks the door. And it's you can see like everyone else in the room is basically kind of panicked, except the two gangsters and Tom. He is very calm, very collected. He's like, listen, man, you don't have much cash on me here, but you're welcome to take all of it. Like, yeah, you were fine. And the older gangster, evil badman, gets really angry. Is like grabbing his gun. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna show you business. I know I'm gonna get what I want. And it's like, oh, gonna show him that we're serious here. Yeah, do her. It's good. There's some subtleties here. When the older gangster turns around for the first time, you could see Tom already kind of trying to move in a little bit, but he turns back around. I was like, oh, interesting. It's like a split second, but you can tell it was deliberately shot that way.
Yeah, he wants nothing more than to start killing. Because I mean, he's just wired that way to be like, yeah, well, threat, so I'm sorry, but you're gonna die.
Yeah.
It's kind of his deal.
It's like, well, show them the business. And the second time they're distracted, Tom he still has the can of coffee in his hand and just smashes into the older guy's face, breaks it. He drops the gun. So Tom grabs the gun, shoots he jumps over the counter, grabs the gun, shoots the younger guy, Billy, I said earlier, his name is Billy, shoots him in the chest like 3, 4, 5 times.
Enough that he's probably not getting up anytime soon.
No. But the other guy is not out yet. Not out yet. He grabs his little boot knife, swings it into Tom's foot, grabs a shot in the head for it, right in the brain juice.
And a delightfully Cronenbergian gore prosthetic is.
Oh
used.
Yeah, it looks nasty. I'm not even sure if I can show it fully on the stream.
Probably not, but yeah, no, he's Cronenberg's one of the OGs when it comes to crazy gore and prosthetic makeup and things like that in movies.
And another detail here that just made me believe that he's something more than he lets on. After he shoots the other guy in the head, he immediately goes to check the door where he shot the other guy a couple of times to see if he got back up. Like, he clearly knows his shit around killing people and being in danger.
And most of the people in the diner are just kind of stunned by it. They can't believe that they just saw their buddy Tom, like good old salt of the earth Tom, just shot a man in the face. And honestly seemed pretty calm through all of it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just the way Tom's handled himself feels like he's very familiar with these scenarios. He doesn't react strongly towards having a gun right up to his face. Like, he's just like, yeah, okay, just take the cash, don't worry about it. And considering we just had the scene we talked about earlier, it's like where the wannabe tough guy bully reacting to the two gangsters almost in a panic. It's just like, oh, like something is up with him. Either that or he got very lucky.
In him at all.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, the assumption most people think that, like, he got lucky. He did. Yeah. He acted at the right time, and thank God no one but the bad guys were hurt. But it's like, might be a little more to it than coincidence or luck.
Especially we very soon get the next thing going on. In the aftermath of this is all happening. So yeah, everybody's stunned, as I already said in the room. I was like, oh shit, he just saved our lives, but also that was very impressive.
Yeah.
And also, it's also worth pointing out, he doesn't have a strong reaction towards killing two people just now. It almost feels like he basically goes back to business immediately, like the next day.
Yeah, he's cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, like it's not the reaction you would have if you killed someone for the first time, which is a reaction we get to see later by Jack, of course, because
Yep.
he killed someone and he has a much more
Visceral reaction.
yeah, visceral is the word I was looking for. Correct. Right, let me put this
Jojo.
here. um. But yeah, he gets brought to the hospital, gets his foot checked out because that one has been stabbed.
Yeah, that
And
would not be a fun injury.
he just flips through the channels. There's like local hero, American hero, man in the little town of Flammerston. It's like, oh god, this is so annoying. It's kind of interesting now that I see it while it's just running here in the background as visuals. He looks concerned by him being all over the television. That's something I didn't even pick up on my when I took my notes. And now look at the now
No,
looking.
he does. He really doesn't seem like he likes the attention off the bat. The second you see him react to it, he's like, fuck.
Yeah, and now we know that he's gonna get found by his past. Basically, it's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, there's probably gonna be something happening rather sooner or later. But yeah, his wife, Edie, comes to visit slash pick him up. It's like, oh, you're sick of seeing me everywhere like I am. He's like, oh no, I kind of like it actually. It's kind of fun almost. Like even the newspaper's like,
yeah,
Tom
'cause,
Stahl,
I mean-
local hero. She's like, yeah, that's great. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's Jack likes it. He likes.
Oh,
the
Jack
attention.
is
He's like,
thrilled.
yeah, but the wife seems like she doesn't understand why Tom's as iffy about it as he is, but she also sort of gets it. I think when there's the reporter at their house trying to get a statement from him as they're like getting home, and I think that's when her suspicions kind of get alleviated a bit because she's like, oh, he doesn't want this bullshit. Okay, I get it.
I mean, which is one of the reactions you have to these things. Like you just had this traumatic experience, and it's like, oh, I just wanna go home and be alone. Not gonna want to relive this scenario every couple of minutes with all the reporters. While other people are relishing in this, like, yeah, give me all the attention. Like I'll talk about it as many times as you want. I'm very cool. And obviously, at this point in the movie, you're like, oh, he's like the one's like, nah, I don't want to talk about this thing. And the way he behaves himself, even with more things happening, he's just like, oh, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't want to relive it. I just want to go back to normal as fast as possible. Which applies in both ways. The one we are led to believe it is, and the way he wants it to be, of course. But yeah, I wonder if there's like some kind of commentary on journalism here in general, where they just all flock around the people immediately, which is a way they do it, right?
Yeah, it's the vulture aspect.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You ever see that movie Nightcrawler with Gyllenhaal?
Don't think so. No.
Oh, it's pretty interesting watch. I'd be remiss to call it a fun movie to watch because it is it's pretty messed up. But he's essentially a paparazzi, and it sort of seems like he plays it as if he's like kind of an autistic guy, like he's got a social development issue and starts wanting to do some really interesting stuff in order to get those pictures of Spider-Man, as it were. But, instead of Spider-Man, just think of just horrible things that people sell photos of to newspapers.
Oh, great.
But yeah, it's an interesting premise. But yeah, that it kind of deals with the vulturous aspect of that kind of media. It's like you don't care about the people that are being affected by this stuff. You just want something that's sensational that you can say, oh, like father of three murdered his entire family and then killed himself by jumping off the CN Tower or something like that. Like, not that ever happened. I mean, it's Canada, so why would it? But I mean, all of this is, well, I guess it doesn't. It takes place in Indiana, but it's Canada.
Yeah, this is all shot in Canada. It's something I've read up. He never shot anything in America, Cronenberg.
Yeah, yeah. A bunch of his one of his first movies it uses the inside of my parents' university,
Oh.
University of Toronto Scarborough campus. It's also in that Total Recall remake they made, because basically like this building was made in the early 60s, and it was sort of designed as if it was like a 1950s version of the future. So anytime they need sort of a bizarre looking futuristic building, they would often use this building, and part of that is because Cronenberg used it in a bunch of his like films as he was an up and coming filmmaker in
Interesting.
Toronto. Yeah, he's one of our hometown heroes if you're a Toronto film industry person, especially if you like horror movies and stuff. Like he did The Fly, and Dead Ringers is a good one with Jeremy Irons twice, because he plays twins in it. And Eastern Promises is another decent one that he did with Vigo, about Russian gangsters. I think it was actually just after History of Violence, actually.
Cool. But yeah, we have the reporter waiting in front of their house, and it's like, well, how did it feel to be threatened with a gun? It's like, didn't feel good.
Not great.
Not great.
Didn't feel good.
And it's like, well, I really just want to be with my family and be left alone. And then she just wraps up her recording, telecast, whatever it is, and it's like, well, I guess that's all we got, and that's that's it with the reporters as well.
I was like, why would you think you would get much more than that, honestly? Like,
and also wraps up all the reporting stuff, because that's it. He was in the newspapers once. He's gonna be over the telly all the time for a day, maybe two, and that's it. They got their worth out of it, basically. Of course, as you already said, Jack is really excited. He's like, oh, yo, you can go to Jerry Springer and everything. And, it's going to be awesome.
Larry King Live.
Larry King,
King Live.
And it's like, I'd rather don't. I just want to chill. But we also...
probably the first of lessons that he kind of gives to Jack about how you take care of a small town family. He's like, we're gonna do our best to keep to ourselves, but if the trouble comes to our doorstep, we'll deal with it. It's like his line.
Oh yeah, that happens.
It comes up a little later, but
yeah, because we already see a black car outside, and Edie's like, more reporters. And Tom sees it. It's like, I don't think those are reporters. He doesn't say it, but you can. I mean, obviously, us as the viewers, like those are not reporters. That's something much more sinister, probably.
We've not even seen Ed Harris yet.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of fun because it's just the next shot is just back at the diner. He's up and running again, basically. Maybe there was a day, possibly two in between. I'm not entirely sure, but it wasn't a long time. But he just nailed up his his door with some plywood, and he's back at the diner. But of course, the diner is very busy because everybody wants to go dine at the local superheroes diner. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's definitely what was going to happen. Like, I want to be...
Especially because it's called Stahl's Diner, so it's like his name is in the title of the, or the name of the restaurant.
Yeah. And yeah, then we see some guy with a suit coming in, and the goon, and you'll be like, oh, he's not just a customer. He's probably gonna... He looks very evil. What's up with him? And yeah, he's like, well, how you doing? Remember me? Or he gets rid of his sunglass, like, no, not really. Fuck are you? And the way he's playing this as well, like in universe and just Vigo in general, the actors, he's like playing a different person right now. He's like, oh, I heard your coffee is really good. It's like, but you can't find any of this coffee in Philadelphia, but you know that, right? And he's like,
Joey.
Joey. And I was like, I don't. What? No, I don't. I've never been to Philly. At this point, I wasn't actually sure. It's like, are we? Is he actually just gonna be like? Is this gonna be a coincidence? A really weird one, uh, you know? But
Well, I mean, like as a premise for a movie like that, you could make a good movie with that.
oh,
Like
even
have
with
it
like,
actually just be a mistaken identity. But I think
yeah,
actually the him actually being the like Ed Harris's character being 100% right about everything
oh yeah,
is it's sort of what makes this movie awesome because it's like, oh no, he's a psychopath. Like he's done some shit.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess yeah, well, we'll get to the implication once we have the scene with the wife where she's asking him about things
Mm.
much later. But yeah, this is just in the diner. We have Ed Harris's character. I forget what his name was. Oh crap! It's like a last name, McGillicuddy or something like that. It's like
Fogarty.
kind of a Fogarty. Yeah, it's like a very
Fogarty.
kind of Irish last name.
Yeah, Carl Fogarty.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like,
And
yeah, your name is Joey Cusack. You know Tom Stall. And it's
yeah,
like,
and he's just like, I have no idea who you're talking about. I'm Tom Stahl. Like I've lived here for well quite some time. Like everyone around here knows me. Like
yeah,
he's just trying his best to be like, hey, like sir, I don't know who you're looking for, but
yeah.
I might look like him, but I'm not that guy.
He's been living here for like 20 years. I mean,
Yeah, like,
he has like a
has
whole
like
family and everything.
a
So
son that's at the end of high school. Like,
yeah. Uh, and the Edie just gets pissed. Like, can you just go away if you don't want to eat anything? Like, we have lots of
yeah.
customers. We need this space. And he's like, "Oh, it's fine, Edie. I got this." Like, yeah. As you can see, we're very busy. So, if you would, I would like to offer these seats to paying customers. So
Yeah.
I think he just gets out like $100 bill or something. He's like, "See, now I'm a paying
Now
customer."
paying customer.
It's like, no, I can't. I'm not gonna take this. It's like, can you please leave?
Yeah, it's the kind of situation that there's not really a way for him to have gotten out of it totally clean.
No.
Like it is the kind of thing that it's like, well, if he knows you are who you are, then you're just doing a chicken fight, like
Yeah.
playing chicken, you know,
Mm-hmm.
beating at each other in cars and seeing who's gonna flinch. And so yeah, him doing the like putting the $100 on the table. It's like, well, now you can't make the argument that I'm not paying, and now you have to deal with me. It's like, oh god, could you just go?
But then they eventually do leave, and Edie calls Sam, the sheriff of the town, and he follows them. I guess out of town almost, like on the path out, the street out there. And just stops and is like, "Well, can I see your ID?" And it's all very calm. It's like, "Oh, have I been? I thought it was under the limit. Sorry." It's like, "Give me your ID." I'm like, "Oh, okay. What are you doing here?" It's like, "Oh, heard there was good coffee, or something along those lines." And Sam just tells like, "So what is your? You better leave Tom Stall alone. Like we're the small town. We look out for good people here, and Tom is a very good person, or something along those lines."
Yeah, it's like it was a good town full of good people, and we take care of our good people.
Exactly. And
The
it's like,
implication saying like, hey man, it looks like you were looking for trouble. Please don't. I do know who you are. I have your plates. Like we'll be keeping an eye out for you from now on. So please just don't come around again. Which
Exactly.
from like the cop's perspective at this point, that's all he can do really.
yeah. Um. But yeah, he then takes the car is really like, "Oh, thank you for your very good work, officer. Thank you. I'll see you next time." He's just very polite about it.
Yeah.
Because he knows that officer can't do shit to him. Like, he was just driving, basically.
Yeah, it's because he says he's like, don't like, let's not see you around. Don't come around here again. And he's just like, you have a good day, officer. Like,
Yes.
he does not acknowledge the
No,
request.
not at all. The same evening, Sam goes to their place and talks to them. He basically tells them, well, they're all hardened criminals. They're from organized crime. One guy has like multiple offenses in assault, burglary, whatever. It's just the whole.
They all have a history of violence.
Yeah, basically. And that shit is dangerous, and you should definitely call me if they bother you again, because this is not good. It's
These
like,
guys, yeah, they're real killers. It's like they're not just like random goons. It's like
yeah.
these are like mobsters.
And very interesting because Sam's like, "Are you in some kind of witness protection program that I should know of? Because it's really weird they're here because they're organized crime, and I don't really understand why they would come here if they're not sure they got the right person." And I was like, "Well, you need to hear it from your face, Tom." Like, "Are you in witness protection?" He's like, "No, no, I'm not in a witness protection program." Uh, which would also be a fun way to steer that in, I think.
Yeah,
Witness protection, because
it
I'm
would
actually
be a
not
much
100.
easier way for him to assume a functional identity.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yeah, he's like, no, I'm not. And obviously, Edie is very distressed. Starts doing a little crying Heimers, because that's all very upsetting, of course. Uh, yeah, and then with that sorted, we cut to next day, and we see that Tom just walks to his diner, basically, because his pickup truck is still not functioning, and he needs to go there somehow. But he's just chilling there, and he sees the black car again. And he's like, "Oh shit!" And just starts running towards back home. And calls over. It's like, "Edie, get the shotgun, get ready, and wait for me. I think they're on their way." And she's like, "Oh shit! Oh fuck! Oh shit!" Like, she gets up and she just
Yeah,
panic loads the shotgun. Like, she just stumbles over her. It's like it's a very human reaction, I think.
yeah.
Especially if I don't know if she knows anything about shotguns and how to handle them. Definitely it's definitely very panicked loading, but she knows how to load it, which probably he showed her at some point.
Yeah,
So.
like you can imagine that. Also, I mean, if she grew up in a small town like this, it's very possible that she used to go like
Yeah.
skeet shooting or hunting.
But also, I think like a double barrel shotgun like that is not hard to load. You just kind of slide it in the back, so
It's pop break usually.
and then clip it back together. So yeah. Um, but yeah, he runs all the way back with his fucked up foot. By the way, that's still stabbed and bandaged. Like he, it's actually a Chad move what he did. Just
Yeah.
running all the way back, trying to protect his family, which makes him very sympathetic, very charming. He's like,
Yeah,
oh shit, he's looking out for the family. He's worried, like he doesn't even know what he would be up against. He doesn't have a gun on him. He just runs all the way back.
It's very clear that whatever he may or may not be hiding, this man loves his family for real. Like he's not pretending at all.
No, he wants to protect that family any means necessary, basically. And yeah, he arrives back home, and he almost gets shot by his wife, because she's like, "Oh shit, who's that?" He's like, "Oh, it's me." And it's also kind of funny because Jack is just sitting in the kitchen having cereal as breakfast. It's like, what's happening?
Well, that was really funny because like he can see his mom from the kitchen, and she's just cowering in the corner, pointing a shotgun at the door, and then screams when her dad opens the door, and then he walks in, and Jack's just like,
I have his face on the screen right now. He's just having his spoonful of cereal. It's like, why is everybody so panicked? It's kind of fun.
I still can't believe that Edie didn't like tell him to get in the basement or something like that, or to go upstairs, like hide or get a weapon.
That's true. He's just kind
Did
of
she
like
just not know he was home?
completely unaware of what's going on. He's like, what is happening? Why is everybody so scared?
Yeah, he's like, he was just eating breakfast, and then all of a sudden he heard his mom running down the stairs, grabbing the shotgun and posting up by the door, basically.
Yeah. He's just sitting there, and Tom's like, "It's all good, it's all good." False alarm. It's like, "Oh god," and he even was just like, "Oh man, I think I'm just going insane." It's like, "Oh, I was gonna have a sit down." I was like, "I think I'm going crazy." It's just funny. I know this scenario of of Jack just sitting there is like, what? It's just really funny to me.
This would be so confused.
Yeah. Uh, Also, a nice thing, he goes in and Jack picks up the shotgun. It's like, oh, whoa, give that here. Look out, this thing is loaded. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
uh, and he just, he unloads the gun, which is like, yay, gun safety, good stuff. But yeah, Jack basically just asks him, like, so why is everybody so upset? Are you gonna tell me now? It would be nice. Like, well, I thought someone would be coming here to hurt us, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really, yeah, that's what happens. Jack's like,
I
so
guess I was wrong. Thank God.
Jack's like, so you just ran all the way back here to save us?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, something silly like that. I don't know. It's like, he's like,
He's just like, yeah, that's incredible, Dad.
yeah, it's like, that's
you
awesome.
really are the hero that they're saying you are on the news. And because he still thinks of his dad as this like really good person.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't realize there's a dark side to him exactly. He just thinks that he did what he had to do and he's a hero. Which I mean, I guess is true, but it's not the whole truth.
Yeah. And Jack's like, well, what if you're right? It's like, well, and we have to deal with it.
Then we'll deal with it, yeah. And that's kind of the line where I think it's sort of a similar thing that we were talking about in our last pre-recorded episode with the idea of some battles need to be fought, and ultimately there are going to have to be people in this world who are capable of saying, yeah, well, when the wolves come to our door, I'll deal with it because it's my job to protect my family. And I think that's it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not to say that Viggo Mortensen's character is a perfect person, because we know that he spent a number of years definitely not being.
No.
But,
which makes this whole scenario so interesting.
Yeah. So the redemption idea, that's like, if a bad person goes out of his way to become a good person, can he ever become a good person, is sort of the question of this movie.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we deal with it exactly. Oh yeah, before they have this talk, Sarah comes downstairs and is like, Mommy, we gotta get new shoes, don't forget about it. And it's like, nah, that's my #1 priority today. So
Yeah.
They go shopping for some shoes.
Off to the mall.
Off to the mall. Do you guys have like a big mall in Canada?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of them.
They're kind of fascinating
In fact,
to me because
like,
you guys in Canada and America, you guys have
know...
these super huge ones. I think we have like one that's called Centro that's kind of big, but that's about it. But I don't think we ever had this mall craze from back in the 80s or something.
Well, you got to remember that like most of my country in America, we're not very developed as far as like most of our land goes. I mean, America is becoming less that way, but even then, like the reason they call it Middle America in a way that sort of isolates that specific area of America is that's the part that's still more like Canada, where there's big fields of farms and forests and lots of nature. So when a suburb gets put in, generally it will be based around a mall as a one-stop place where most people can get all of their needs. So and often that's why people have criticized Walmart of essentially removing the need for a mall, because it's just one store that has pretty much all of your essential needs for living in a community. So there's plenty of towns now that just have a Walmart as opposed to a mall with a whole bunch of different types of shops and different owners and different people making money. It's like just Walmart, and that's kind of one of the reasons lots of people don't like Walmart. I've got one nearby, and I mean, I'm not going to say I never use it because it is pretty cheap, and generally there's useful stuff there. But yeah, no, definitely living in the Toronto suburbs though, growing up, that was more of a mall culture where it's like teenagers would go hang out there because there's like video games at the theater, and there's food courts, so there's places where you can go and have a $5 meal with the girl that you like or something like that, like when you're in high school. So But I mean, effectively, you do have malls in Germany. It's just your malls are a bunch of shops that are all outside on the same street. Like it's
Oh, yeah, I
basically
was about to say
a
we have
mall.
like it's like the inner cities where they have like multiple streets with like all kinds of clothing shops and restaurants,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're mostly centered around like central stations, I would say.
Mhm.
Um,
And yeah, and that's kind of the deal. It's like, well, if we because we have a lot of more satellite communities just
mm,
sort of out in the middle of nowhere, but then there's this one place where you'll have like all the chain restaurants and probably a mall or a Walmart or something, and then you drive 10 minutes down the road and it's nothing but farmland for the next 3 hours again. Like
mm,
that. There's a lot of that in my country.
fair,
And I mean,
fair.
like I mean, you can live out of one of those places. It's not bad. In fact, I kind of prefer living in a small town to living right in the city. Like I did grow up in Toronto. I went to high school in basically the northern area of the actual city, and university like just north of the city.
Hmm. Yeah, we do
But
have
I
malls,
spent a
but
lot
they're
of time downtown.
not as big most of the time. They're maybe like 2 or 3 stories high or something. It's like not very big, but and most of them they have just one really big like like a Walmart kind of dealio on the bottom, you know, like one
Hmm.
really big discounter or whatever that's
Yeah,
like spans over the whole bottom floor, and then you have like clothing,
bunch of shops on
electronics
the
on the
second
next
level.
floor, and then maybe a food court on top or something. Like
Yeah,
that's about it.
yeah, we have a bunch that are like that too.
Yeah. And then there's one I think it's called Centro in where is it? Oberhausen. That's where it is. That's probably I think that's the biggest one in Germany. I've been there once. I think I still have the wallet I bought there like 10 years ago.
Well then.
Yeah. Westfield Centro is what it's called now. Okay.
You'd probably call it a mullet.
Yeah. Nice.
Just flip that W upside down, see what I did there.
Is that thing still around? I don't know why it wouldn't be, to be honest. Yeah, they have like all kinds of things. Foot Locker.
You ever see the movie Mallrats?
No.
I guess if we want someday, we can do a Kevin Smith arc.
Oh boy.
I mean, no,
Lots of crying.
he's got some good movies. Like Kevin Smith in the '90s isn't Kevin Smith now.
Oh, I
It's,
know. Like Jay and
he
Silent
was
Bob and stuff like that. That was fun.
yeah, Mallrats is one of the Jay and Silent Bob movies. It's the
Oh, okay,
second
okay.
one. So, yeah, but it's one of the ones where they're just characters. It's not like focused on them. Because Clerks was the first movie he ever made. It was like a full blown indie film, and they're in that, even though it was made for like $10,000, like in black and white. But Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma are the ones that they were just kind of characters in, and then they made Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and I think a couple sequels to that. So they've started having movies where they like are the main character, and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was all right too. But I think Dogma is his best movie.
Oh, I remember that one fondly. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember that one
Yeah,
being pretty fun.
it's a good one. There's a couple pretty laugh out loud funny moments in there.
Good stuff. Uh, where were? Oh, right. Yeah, Jack was like really. He feels like he's inspired by his dad's heroism.
Yeah,
He
I mean,
really.
it would hard to not be.
Oh, for sure. It's like yeah, good stuff. But anyway, Edie and Sarah are going to the mall to get some shoes, but black car pulling over. The
No,
Fogartly man is here. There's a joke there somewhere with cowardly, Fogartly. You know.
yeah, I really love this scene. I think this is Ed Harris's best moment in the movie.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good because Sarah is basically doing child things like I'm gonna go check shit out over there, even though my mom is not even aware where I am right now. And she's just trying some shoes right now. It's like Sarah is like, oh shit, she's gone. It's like, oh fuck, what about these people that are around? Sarah, I got. And just a nice little detail. The clerk's like, I can't let you leave with these shoes. It's like, no, I need to look for my door. It's like, no, you can't leave with those shoes. Like those are ours. And it's like. I like this little touch because it's not only that the clerk's like, yeah, you can't just leave with those shoes, those are not yours, but also Edie just flinging them towards her, not even using her hands or doing it like like with any care. She's like, yeah, here's the fucking shoes. Like she doesn't even have shoes on right now. She's walking through the mall, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, fine, I need to find my daughter. God damn it. And then
It's one of the things I've always found funny about those leashes that they have for kids, because while it might seem demeaning, I kind of get it. Like in a way, it's like, well, I mean, it would be really easy to just have a little line on them so that if they went too far away, I'd feel it tug at my hip or something.
Yeah.
And be able to be like, hey, come back here.
Yeah. But yeah, she's just basically window shopping on her own. It's like, yeah, but look, they have those Vespa dolls here. It's like, you can't just go away. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, mommy. But of course, Carl is sitting there. It's like, don't worry, I was looking out for your daughter.
Actually, I did that once as a kid that I can remember, because my grandparents never let me hear the end of it. It was when my parents were on vacation. My grandparents were watching me, and in a mall, I did just kind of take off on my own, and they eventually found me at the ice cream shop. So I don't really remember doing it, but apparently I had wandered over to the ice cream shop alone, and I guess I was unaware with how commerce worked, and I kind of figured if I just went to the ice cream shop, I'd get ice cream, but I don't know. I was a kid. Whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid. I didn't die. That's the important part.
But yeah, she's very upset that this guy is back here. It's like, I don't know, and I don't really care what the fuck you want, but you get away from my children, you son of a bitch. Like, oh, but you should care what I want. I want something with your husband. It's like, he's not the like,
and that affects you.
That affects you.
He points that out.
Yeah, it's like,
so he's like saying, I don't want anything simple from him. Like, this is gonna change your life.
Pretty much. And it's like, well, you should let me talk to him. Like, it's like, no, Tom is not who you think you are. You're just being dumb and misunderstanding. And it's like, no, he knows me. He knows me very intimately. And points at his his eye. It's like, huh?
This eye's not a totally dead eye.
It's not a totally dead eye.
Because all it can see is Joey Cusack.
Yeah.
Pulling it out with some barbed wire.
And I can tell he's still crazy Joey. It's like, what? Like, nah, he's no. It's like, oh, he is. You should ask him about his older brother Richie and how he tried to rip his eye out with barbed wire.
No, he ripped Fogarty's eye out.
Right.
That's why Fogarty's eyes hurt. But yeah, Richie's got an issue with Joey that we were privy to later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think that his line though, where he says like, ask yourself, why is he so good at killing people?
Mm-hmm.
and then like Edie starts thinking about it. You're like, well, I guess you got me there. Like, he is pretty fucking good at killing people. And that puts that little doubt in her mind about whether or not Tom is actually telling her the truth. And she confronts him, I think, in the next scene.
No, next scene is with we go back to the bullies.
Oh, okay. This is okay. So this is the big bully scene.
Yeah, but Edie also tells him that if he comes close to them again, he's gonna have him arrested. And I think she goes to make a warrant. No, what's called a
restraining order.
Restraining order on him.
And Tom's like, "Oh, that's not going to stop these guys." And she's like, "Well, I mean, at the very least, now if he shows up again, we can have him arrested for violating a restraining order. Like, that's we're making it so that he can't just keep showing up and intimidating us.
Yeah,
like, the sheer act of him in our presence is now a crime." Which, I mean, hey, if you find yourself being stalked, absolutely do that.
Oh, 100%.
There's no shame in that. And hey, if that person does come around again, don't be afraid to call the cops and say, hey, I put a restraining order out on this person and they are still hanging around. Clearly they don't care. Please get them away from me. Because once you're violating a court order and still hanging around with someone, you're definitely not accidentally running into them. Like,
no.
you're going out of your way.
Absolutely. But yeah, as I said, we go back to school, and the bully just fucking pushes him pretty aggressively in the back. He almost falls over. He's like, "Oh, what? Is your dad some kind of hero now or something?" It's like, what's your problem?
Mm-hmm.
Who pissed in your coffee?
He was just like, deal with it, man. My dad's tougher than your dad. It was even on the news.
But Jack is like, oh, fuck, like he's getting very angry. Apparently, because we learned a little bit that he's apparently been picked on like all year by this guy for some reason. And like he has the one guy behind him. He's like, yeah, it's like, dude. What does he say? It's like, make me laugh or whatever. Like, you're gonna want to make me laugh
says,
again.
Yeah, aren't you gonna say something funny? Come on, make me laugh.
Yeah.
And so Jack does something that's not so funny, but it's interesting though, because you know that what Jack is doing is wrong, but because of the way they built up the bully, you can't help but find yourself enjoying it the way Jack would.
Oh yeah, because
I like that, because it really does kind of make you feel like the character.
Yes, because he's also like, he's trapped. Like he has the friend behind him and the bully in front of him, and he's actually about to leave. He's like, whatever, I just fucking go. Like, it's not even worth it. But then he gets stopped by the other guy, and he's like, ugh, and just fucking kicks him in the nuts. I was like, yeah.
And then
I get it.
Beats the living shit out of the dude on the ground.
Yeah, he kicks the one guy in the nuts. He's like on the ground, like, oh fuck, and then he does like a spinning back fist in his face, like, damn.
I mean, he's got his dad's instincts. I think that's the thing. It's like there's a bit of Joey in Jack.
Yeah, I can see that. Because
I think that because he was raised so well, he's afraid of it. Even like he doesn't really want to be in a fight at any point in the movie, even when he thinks his dad's so cool for. Like being able to stand up for himself. And that's probably what leads him to take off the limiters for a moment and actually say, okay, I'm going to stand up for myself the way my dad would. But the truth is that turns him into a violent person for a moment. He does something very violent and kind of sick in some ways. Like, he really brutally beats the guy. He didn't just knock him down and say, okay, it's done. Like, call and get the teachers over here, like, let's get disciplinary action going. He beats him possibly to the point of hospitalization.
No, he is in the hospital.
He's in the hospital.
And the dad says it in the next scene. It's like, we don't punch him, so you need to go to the hospital or something.
The thing about that is, if you are hospitalized from a fist beating, it means you were in a situation where you could have died in all circumstances, because they don't send you to the hospital if you just got a shiner on your cheek or if you just have a black eye. They send you to the hospital if you've got actual head trauma or you have your nose is broken to the point that it actually needs plastic surgery to get it back together. Like, there's not a whole lot of reasons that a school hallway fight ends with a hospital trip. No. Unless it was a bad one.
Because he knocks him down into the lockers twice, and while he's already down, he punches him one more time in the face. Like, it's some nasty punches, and there's like blood on the floor. Like, I can see that going to the hospital.
Yeah, and I think that's the part of Joey or Tom in him that enjoyed it. Like, he wanted to go in for the last hit. And I like that Cronenberg has this way of just like sort of showing you the inside of a character through just an action like that happening. And I think that the performance factors into it a lot, even his reaction to it afterwards, because he's very almost proud of himself, even though Tom is kind of saying to him, like, look, it's not something you should be proud of exactly. It's something that you might need to do if you're in a situation where you need to protect yourself or your family, but it's not a good thing if you start enjoying it. And he's saying that as a person who used to really enjoy it. Yeah,
because he apparently worked very hard on not being that old person anymore.
Yeah,
as I said earlier,
which we'll get to shortly.
It's been like 20 years that he's been living this life as Tom Stahl. So he basically had that person buried.
Yep. And in his head, sort of literally. But again, like once
Yeah.
we get to the scene in the hospital after the second attack on a stall property,
Oh yeah,
we'll talk about that
not
because
too far.
that's a really cool scene too.
Because now we have a little talk between Jack and Tom. He's like, "What? It's like we just don't punch people to the hospital when we have problems." It's like,
Hey,
oh,
he's
come on,
like,
it's
yeah,
just
no,
a,
wait, wait.
it's just a suspension. It's like, yeah, we don't just punch people.
No,
Yeah,
in this family, we don't solve problems by hitting people. And then
yeah,
Jack says, no, we solve problems by shooting people. And then Tom slaps him.
yeah.
That's like, again, it's very uncomfortable because you've
Oh,
got
it's
this,
the most uncomfortable scene in the movie. I feel like,
yeah. But I mean, it's
even though
also the
there's all
idea
this
that
gore throughout the movie where we see
yeah,
people's
it's
head explode, not head explode, but just things going on.
yeah, like his whole mandible got blown apart by a gun. So like, I mean, it's 45 ACP to the chin, and it did not go well.
Yeah,
But
not a good time.
but what I mean is Tom lashing out against Jack and committing violence against one of the people who he wants more than anything to protect.
Yeah.
Is kind of the warning that I think Jack needed to hear too. And like, not to say that it's good to hit your kid. That's not what I mean at all. It's that Jack was on the road to thinking that there wasn't a dark side to functioning that way, like to reacting
Yeah,
with
because
intimidation and
Jack
violence.
says, "Oh, come on, it's just a suspension, like whatever." It's like
Yeah.
just a suspension. He's in the hospital, and the parents are probably gonna sue us, and we don't have the money
Yeah.
to go against that.
Yeah, it's like this could be a real problem
Yeah.
for us that could take years to fix. So no, it's not just no big deal. And I think that it's not that, again, like, because I want to be careful how I say this. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that you should hit your kids. I'm saying that because of this specific situation and the mental state that Jack was in how he viewed Tom's actions, how he viewed violence as heroism, and doesn't really see a distinction between the two. He says that, like, well, if you're being pushed around, what you should do is hit back as hard as you possibly can, and then they'll never mess with you again.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of truth to that. But the thing is, there's also a downside to that, that if you start thinking of violence as your way out of problems and you're good at it, it can start being the only thing that you ever want to turn to. And then
Yeah.
before you know it, you are using violence when you don't want to, and you can't end up controlling it. And I think that's what he showed Jack in that moment. It was an accident, and he wasn't doing it consciously to be like, I'm going to teach him a lesson now. It was just him being unable to hold back violence. Showed Jack a glimpse of what that path looks like. And I thought that was really good. And I never thought I'd be in a situation where I think a father hitting his kid in a movie is a very, very good scene. But it because of the specific story, it functions very well as a window into his possible future if he doesn't reframe how he views violence.
Yeah, it's also just very well set up because we took the time to show that it's like a very tight family. Like they all really like each other, and they support each other and they help each other and yada yada yada. And it's very clear that this is never happened before. Like he wasn't a dad that was like
It's
slap
100%
light
clear
right
after
slap
it
left.
happens that he has never slapped Jack
Yeah.
before, even a little bit, because they're both kind of stunned by the fact that it happened.
Yeah, he even goes like, "Oh, Jack, fuck, I didn't mean to do that." Is what he's about to say, but Jack
Yeah, and
just
then Jack runs away
runs off.
as he probably should and would
Yeah.
in that situation. And yeah, I thought it was very, very difficult scene, but one that I think ended up working very well. And I think that, I don't know, that's always kind of been Cronenberg's thing. Is like, I'm gonna talk about something in regards to human nature that's extremely difficult, but I'm gonna present it in a way that might be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Though I don't recommend watching Crash. That one might be a little too fucked up. It's about a dude who gets turned on by car wrecks, and yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
not good. It's James Spader though. Ultron is the man in question.
That's actually funny. But yeah, because it's also interesting because Jack's been kind of dealing with this in his own manner the whole time, you know, just kind of talking back, but not, as you already said earlier. He barks, but he doesn't bite. But he always he seems to have always barked enough to just get rid of the situation. And because obviously his dad just had this thing happening with the diner and him taking care of that with excessive I don't even know if you would call it excessive violence. I mean, they've been I don't mean
I
excessive in
mean,
the legal
yeah,
way. You know what
it's
I mean? I mean like
yeah, that's the thing.
excessive in
It's
the ways like he killed two people to protect himself.
yeah,
So
but
Jack's thinking
killed
is, oh,
them
if he can do this, I can just fucking punch the shit out of this guy until he's down, and then I don't have that problem anymore. Without
exactly,
thinking
yeah,
of the
because
repercussions
it's
that
an
the
easy
dad.
way out if you're tougher than the person that you're in an altercation with, then it's a very easy way out to
Yeah.
just physically intimidate them. But the thing is, that isn't how humans should work. It's how we can work at times, but part of what makes us not animals is that we
Yeah.
hopefully have the ability to reason a bit more than just,
I mean, that's how
well,
we dealt with it
I
back
stronger
in.
than you, therefore I win.
So we dealt with it back in Unga Bunga times. I
Yeah.
hit you with stick. I'm leader now. But
Mhm.
if we would still do that, we probably wouldn't sit here and talk about this movie.
Yeah, yeah. And we don't mean that in a good way. We mean that that human civilization wouldn't have happened the way it
No.
has. We would not have been
At least
nearly as
very,
productive.
very differently.
Think of the toughest guy that you know, and imagine if he ran the country. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the toughest guy you know might be brilliant, but I'm willing to bet tons of people out there listening know a tough guy who's maybe not best suited for world leadership. So
Yeah.
it's probably better that we have systems that are a bit more sophisticated, if not always super effective. Because lots of crazy people get into politics, but that's not really the fault of human civilization. That's
Yeah.
that's just the nature of people who want power.
But yeah, Jack runs off. He jacks off, if you will. Got it. I didn't even write that
Yeah,
one
that was a
down.
good one.
I just. That felt like a thing I would have written down while I made the note, but I didn't. I'm disappointed in my
sometimes you
past
just
self.
sometimes you just gotta say the improv jokes. Every so often they come out and they're 2 out of 10, but you fire out your 2s until you get your 8s.
Yeah. um. So, oh yeah, Edie is back now. Jack ran off. Edie is here. Oh yeah. Carl was there in the mall. I put the restraining order out. He's like, well, that's probably not gonna stop him. So, and the guys wait, I'm confused. I think I flumed up my notes here. I think just talk about
No.
what they want to do next, and then the people arrive at their doorstep, basically. Correct me if I forgot something. I think I skipped my notes here by like writing them down.
No, I don't think so. I think it happens like right away, right? Like,
Oh yeah, they just have a short talk, like a minute or something. Like, it's like, oh, he's he really thinks you're the guy he's looking for, and the restraining order is out, and then they pull up. Like, it's a minute and a half. Yeah, I didn't write. Maybe that's why I didn't write anything down. That's basically the gist of it, because we get to the next scene where the guys arrive, and
Yep.
he's like, "Well, Joey,
Showdown at the old homestead.
You might just gonna come with us, go do a trip down memory lane." Joey already has his Tom has his shotgun now. It's like, "Can you please leave my property?" He's like, "Ah, Joey, you crazy man." It's like, "Well, come with me because we got something that belongs to you." And they picked up Jack,
Yeah,
who
of
was,
course they have Jack.
because he just
Who
ran
ran
out
off
to
because
probably
he was
go
just
to
pissed.
town or whatever.
Yeah, he just wanted to go to the library and smoke a joint, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, "Edie, it's fine. I'll deal with it. Go inside and look for Sarah." Yeah. And Carl's like, "Well, let's come with us to Philly. I'll go down memory lane. I'll come closer here." And again, Tom, very calm. He's like,
It would be better if you just leave.
It would be better if you would just leave. Which is
My
felt
favorite
so
line in the
badass. I
movie.
was like, oh fuck, they are so dead. I don't know how yet, but they are fucked. Uh, it's also like he gets closer. It's like, Jack, go back inside. Like he is
Yeah.
in control of the situation, but Carl's like, yeah, fine. And then he also makes him drop the shotgun, of course.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you're thinking that Joey's on his back foot here, or Tom, I guess.
yeah,
But at the same time, he's very calm.
he's very calm, controlled. He's like, yeah, it's better if you would just leave.
Yeah.
Uh,
So if I gives him a way out, he's like, hey, you can walk away right now. Kind of like, did you watch Fall of the House of Usher?
oh, of course.
Yeah. So kind of like Carla Gugino's character does in that to the kids. He's like, you could leave right now.
um. Yeah. Then one of Carl's goons gets closer and like, go on, Joey, get in the car, and he gets out his gun. The goon does, and Joey. At this point, he's Joey. I'm just gonna call him Joey, right?
Yeah.
Because he's
Well, because that's even used as a line of dialogue a little later that he turns into Joey in this scene.
right. He overwhelms the guy. He kind of breaks his arm. He bashes his nose
Yeah.
into his brain, basically.
Does the old cartilage into the brain trick
Yeah.
that
And
I
it's-
hear is not really physically possible, but it wouldn't feel good.
And
Say that,
these
like, you
fights
might
are
not
just
die,
so.
But you'd be fucked.
The few action scenes where they're so dirty and real feeling almost, you know, because he goes like he bomb like into his nose the whole time.
It's not stylish combat
No.
at all. It's very dirty. It's like it doesn't look cool while he's doing it. It looks kind of messed up after it's over.
Yeah, like the other two were basically already on the way back in the car, while he just grabs the gun of the other guy, pushes his nose into his brain, for lack of a better term. Like,
Yeah.
you even get like a short scene of him where he's on the floor going like.
Yeah, the guy's like twitching. He's got like nervous system twitches going on.
Yeah, he grabs the gun of the guy he just punched his face and shoots the other guy with the gun. But of course, there's Carl is there and shoots him in the shoulder. And he's like, any last words before I shoot you in the face? And he's like, I should have killed you back in Philly, says
Yeah.
Joey. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah,
And,
and that's the first time we see Tom or Joey admit it. Tom admit that he's Joey.
Yeah. And but before Carl can shoot him, of course, and that goes back to the line the bully said, are you some kind of hero? Jack comes in from the back with shotgun in his hand and fucking blows his chest off
Yep,
from the back.
What happens if they come to the house? Then we deal with it.
We deal with it. Yeah.
And Jack, we know now that it's very well established that it's part of the story that Jack has the ability to kill in him. Like Joey is his dad.
Yeah, there's something in there.
But I think he because of being struck by Joey, you could say a moment earlier. I think that his lessons kind of they reach something that brings them to a level of balance in this scene here. Where he's like, okay, well, it's like I don't want to be violent, I don't want to do this stuff, but every so often something will happen where you need to stand up and protect your family, even at risk to yourself.
Yeah. Also, he
Like,
doesn't.
Jack
Jack
dad's
doesn't.
gonna die.
Yeah. Also, Jack doesn't relish in what he just did. Like he
No,
immediately goes
he
like,
doesn't
"Oh
like it at
fuck,
all."
I just killed a motherfucker." Like, I mean,
Yep,
I
he
can
is. He's pretty rattled.
Can show his face here, like right after he's like, "Oh shit, I just did that." Mm-hmm. And again, another neat detail. As soon as Joey realized what happened, he grabs the gun of the other guy and checks if the other two are still down.
Yep.
Like, he's very aware of his surroundings. Which is just a
Situational
thing
awareness is
I
very
would like
important.
more movies to do.
Yeah, because it doesn't take a lot of time.
No.
You just have the person kind of just do a quick check on the people that they've downed to be like, okay, is this person gonna get up and be a problem later? And Most of the people in the audience might not even notice it, but the people who do will be like, "Wow, this
Yeah.
character's more competent than I was thinking they were a moment ago before they did this.
Yeah.
They're
Also,
actually
I'm just
thinking about their safety."
gonna show this on screen. I'm gonna post this here for you. Like this shot of Joey's face right after like blood in his face.
Yeah,
It's just such a different tone.
Oh yeah, that's when he grabs the shotgun away from
Yeah.
Jack, and he's just looking at him like death.
Yeah.
And then he pulls him in and hugs him. And
It's
it's
very
a really beautiful shot.
it's very similar to the stare of the two criminals in the car earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, oh shit.
1,000-yard stare.
Yeah. It's like, this is his killer stare. It's like, okay, you better give me the gun right now.
And Viggo Mortensen's just such a damn good actor too. Like
Oh yeah.
he's really good at saying a lot with either few words or no words. Like when he delivers something, it seems like he's delivering it perfectly for the story they're trying to tell. And most of the time, he just has to look. Like he doesn't have to say anything at all. His facial expressions are kind of enough to let you know what he's thinking.
Yeah. But yeah, Jack very distraught about what's happened, obviously. Which shows you he's not gonna go down as a crazy killer. Like he did not enjoy this whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, it's probably gonna some kind of balance. He might have it in him if need be, but you know.
But he's also the good person that Tom Stahl raised, and I think that's the difference between Joey and Tom. Joey and Jack, because Joey is what like totally unfiltered Tom. It's Tom before he ever became Tom, where Tom is the person who Joey chose to be. So he's invested in remaining that because it's like we'll get into it in the next scene, I suppose. But he chose to abandon Joey and become Tom. But Jack wasn't sure what he was really to make of all of it. You know, like he didn't know what he was really. If his father wasn't Tom Stahl, then what does that mean about who Jack is? Mm-hmm. Because Jack thought his father was Tom Stahl, and I think it's here that he realizes I've got that darkness in me, but Tom Stahl was a real person, and he was my father, and he raised me, so I know that this is not something that I should be pursuing as a hobby or a career path.
Yeah, because now, of course, we have to deal with the aftermath of this, because now we know. He is the guy they were looking for this whole time, and we cut to the hospital where Edie is about to visit him, and she asks for the truth. Like I just saw you turn into that guy, this Joey guy.
Yeah, saw you turn into Joey right in front of my eyes.
So now I want to know: did Joey kill people back in Philly? Did he do it for fun, for money? And Tom says both. But Tom Stahl hasn't done anything like this, and it took him 3 years to kill off Joey somewhere in the desert or something. Yeah, and so even
you
points
get the impression that he was probably doing like psychedelic drugs and like maybe some behavioral therapy to make himself not think of Joey as a person who he killed and not who he is, and. I think that probably the most creepy part about it I don't know if I ever thought about it until this viewing, actually, like this past viewing, when she says our name Stahl, like Tom Stahl, like where did you come, like why Tom Stahl, and then he says it was available.
Yeah. What does that mean? Like, did he kill someone with that name?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is the first time I kind of got that. Right? I was like, oh, he probably killed Tom Stahl, like the real Tom Stahl.
Yeah.
And knew that person was not someone who would be found or anyone looking for him. Like probably one of the Philadelphia gangster people, or someone connected to them that was just a nobody. And might have had a passport, might have had a social insurance number, and a functional identity without having the need for witness protection program if you killed the guy whose identity it was and have just successfully stolen it.
Tom even also points out, like, Tom wasn't even born until I met you. I was like, oh, okay. Also, that obviously means like she was a big part of why he even was able to keep this I guess this
Yeah.
personality alive this whole time.
Yeah, which I mean, I could see being a difficult thing for her to hear, but it absolutely makes sense. Like, I think it would be easier for you to keep up your alternate persona if you're married with children with a wife, you know, like, and you have someone who you're living a day-to-day life with who is another human. Like, you're not just alone trying to convince yourself you're someone else. You've got a whole new life to adapt to, and
Yeah. Because her reaction obviously is not, she's not thrilled, to say the least.
she is not happy at all.
She almost throws up and is like, oh, guess I must have been available then as well, she says.
Yeah.
It's like,
In response to the name being available, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, man, this is everything she knows about him, she doesn't even know if that's real. Like, she even points out, it's like, oh, you never talked about your adopted parents because they don't exist. Like, you just made that up. What else is made up, you know? Because yeah, she's sad because they were living a very happy life up until this point, but now everything that came before them is she didn't know about or was lied to, and now she doesn't know if she can trust him at all. So it's a very normal reaction.
And it's complicated for her though, because she loves Tom. Like, Tom is still the man that she loved, and she's like, is Tom real? I don't even know how to process this exactly, but I don't want my family to be broken. I also don't know if I can live with a serial killer potentially, or like a multiple murderer.
Yeah.
I don't know if serial killer would be the correct term exactly, but it did seem like even amongst the Philadelphia gangster people, Joey was particularly crazy.
Yeah, they call him Crazy Joey. So
yeah.
And then she just goes out and just throws her tissue on the ground. It's like, God damn it. Well, obviously she has a lot to think about and how to process this or at all. But you can also see that Tom, like, he has tears in his eyes, like, fuck, like, this is all breaking apart. Like, I thought I was finally done with this old life, but here it is, coming to haunt me again. Yeah. Because the next scene is back at home at, I don't know, X amount of time, maybe a day or two, I don't know. But things are already a bit different. He was not picked up. He got here with a cab. And we see that Jack is waiting on the at the entry. And, well, he's not thrilled either. He's like, well, what am I going to call you? And he's like, Dad, you can call me Dad. I'm your father. Like,
yeah.
It's like, oh. Are you some underground mobster dad? And do I get punished if I don't share my loot with you if I go steal from a grocery shop? And it's like, what are you, what? And he even says like, oh, you're gonna get me whacked if I talk about you with Sam or something. I mean, I'm a bit conflicted with this scene because I get the reaction, but I think it's maybe a bit too much.
And I also think that at this point in the story, it feels like Jack's kind of moved on from the pettiness part, you know.
I mean, I would have get like things like, I don't even know what's real, blah blah blah, but it's like this almost comical reaction, like it's like, oh, you're some kind of mobster boss, like. It felt a bit weird. I don't know if I'm a fan of this scene 100%.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it. I think it undermines Jack a little bit because I think I honestly think that once Jack shot the guy, they probably should have just removed him from the movie.
Just shot Jack.
Other scenes with him. But no, don't shoot him.
No, I know what you mean.
Like, I think that's all the story we really needed with Jack, and this last bit feels like a bit of a regression to the point that he's now giving Tom sass again.
Yeah, no. But yeah, it's very not as happy here now because everything is in question right now. Like the thing he built up for 20 years is just falling apart, and realizing he's not gonna get any pickups anymore. He started to repair his pickup. because we see him working. It's like, oh, it's slowly coming back to life. It's a little Chekhov's pickup truck because he needs a pickup truck in a bit for the next scene to get to places. So, but it makes sense that he would start repairing it because he's probably gonna have to drive himself for a while. Because the wife's probably not gonna want to really talk to him. At least that's what he thinks, or that's how it goes.
We assume that it's very likely Edie's probably leaving at this point. Like,
Yeah.
She really did not seem to take the truth very well.
And now we even get a little visit from Sam, the sheriff. He's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? It's like, yeah, sure. You want to come inside? It's like, oh yeah, sure, why not? And then they go inside, and he's about to talk to him. He's like, oh, we don't need to do this now. Edie's coming back. He's like, oh, you know what? Might as well. He's like, it doesn't really matter. Like, she knows everything anyway.
I'm gonna have to tell her, so.
Yeah. But she's there. She's gonna sit down. It's like, you want some coffee? It's like, no, I'm fine. And basically says that everything seems kind of weird because these are organized crime people. And I don't really see why they would come out here starting a ruckus without being 100% sure that they got the right guy. And honestly, I just want to hear the truth. And interestingly enough, Edie's like, I think you have too much time on your hands, Sam. I was like,
yeah.
What? It's like, well, maybe you should stop asking because haven't we suffered enough already? And she starts to...
Tom's exactly who he says he is, and then she says, hasn't this family suffered enough already? And which I think was her implying to Sam that it's like, look, whatever you found out, yes, but please, can you not?
Yeah.
Can we just forget it? Like, we've clearly been through a lot in the last little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Tom took care of a lot of really bad people who are definitely bad people. So
yeah,
how about we just call this one even? Which it seems like not being an FBI investigator, like just being a small town sheriff, I think Sam was pretty much on board with. He's like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, yeah. Well, I guess I'll leave now. If you need something, just let me know. Anything. Like, he's kind of flustered already. He's like, okay, I'm gonna,
I think
go.
that was his way of explicitly agreeing. Like, he's like, yeah, well, just so you know, you've always got a friend in me. Like, is kind of what he says there, I think. I really like the subtext of this scene. I think it's quite good. And a lot, I think, is done with Maria Bello's deliveries too. Like her performance, her facial expression, I think adds the level of subtext where she's not so much telling him what he would need to hear to leave as the sheriff, but also tacitly telling him the truth at the same time. I thought that was pretty well done.
Yeah, pretty good. And then Edie gets up, starts making her way upstairs, and Tom, or well, at first Tom, but then she's like, no, stop, and she punches him in the face, and then he turns to Joey, and they scuffle a little bit, and it's like, oh shit, is he gonna fuck her up? I mean, he's gonna fuck her at least, but not up.
Yeah. Because we don't really see coming at this point. Like, it's not we're not given any implication that they're totally cool and that they're probably gonna have sex in a moment.
No, it's they scuffle. She punches him. He grabs her like pretty aggressively, and then they start having very aggressive sex on the stairs.
The polar opposite type of sex scene than is at the beginning of the movie, where they're in bed, they're clearly doing whatever they can to try to make things pleasurable for each other, and like being as intimate and loving as they can in the act. Whereas here, it's like they're basically hate fucking.
Yeah, kind of.
Even though it's like not hate, it's, I guess, an expression of love, but through a lot of anger. Because of the situation they've been through. And it's It's again like there's kind of story and thematic reasons for these two sex scenes to have existed and to be as polar opposite as they are. And I think that it's neat to use sexuality in filmmaking that isn't just for the titillating
Yeah.
or going out of its way to be too I don't know, I guess what would be the word for it? I don't know, like over the top and like romantic. It'll be like, oh, we need to show how much they love each other, so they
Yeah.
need to be having sex. It's like that's not exactly true. You don't necessarily need that in movies. I mean, sometimes it's fun to have a sex scene in a movie, sure. Like I'm not a prude or anything, but at the same time, it does get kind of awkward in movies where it doesn't seem like there's any reason at all it needs to be happening. It's just, well, now is the porn segment of of the film.
Yeah.
And but into here it was like, oh no, like this is actually a pretty poignant character moment at the end, or towards the end here, because we're now getting towards the end of the movie. And it's set up by the potentially too gratuitous sex scene at the beginning, and it's because of their tonal mismatch that it's very interesting. And I don't know, I really thought that sexuality is used in this movie in a very, very good way, although it being as explicit as it is. It's justified. I think that's probably the best word for it.
It's Tom making love with his wife in the beginning versus Joey fucking his wife. It's probably the most concise way to put it.
Cheating on Tom with Joey in this scene.
Yeah. Well, the first one is
like,
very.
No, like you haven't been living with Joey this entire time, because this is Joey.
Yeah.
Like Tom was the one at the beginning.
Yeah, it's very compassionate and loving versus like the more animalistic kind of sex on the stairs. Like you get like a short scene of her seeing the back of her, like having bruises and everything.
Yeah.
But it's almost like she embraces the more aggressive side here as well, because obviously she still loves the person that he is now. So yeah, it's very interesting. I mean,
yeah,
you already put it into words, so it's
yeah,
not
expression of love through anger. I think that's probably the best way to do it, because the only reason they're having sex right now as intensely as they are is because despite all of the craziness they're going through, they do both still love each other a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and it might not have seemed like that for the last few scenes because they've been really, well, quite literally at each other's throat in some ways.
Yeah.
But there's character and narrative purpose to it, so I enjoyed it quite a bit.
But yeah, it also doesn't mean that they're cool quite yet, because Joey does have to sleep on the couch. He's not in his bed. They're not cool, and I don't think they are like really cool all the way at the end. I think that's a process that still needs to happen after the movie ends. But the seeds are there. But yeah, he's sleeping.
They basically don't say a word to each other afterwards either. Like, she just walks up the stairs and leaves them.
Yeah, there's also a very short scene where you just see her completely naked.
Mm-hmm.
Which was like, oh, thanks.
And then she covers herself up though. So that's like, even that kind of had a purpose, that she walks out of the bathroom, out of the shower, I guess, naked. And
no, she's not. I mean, you can see her. She has like a robe on, but it's not closed.
Yeah.
But you can see full on nudity. And she kind of looks at us like, ugh, and then walks
like
away.
Covers herself up. Yeah.
No, she just walks away. She doesn't really cover herself up, but it's the same meaning. Like she doesn't.
I feel like
she doesn't go towards him. She just walks past him basically, and just goes into the room.
Like, I can't make eye contact with you right now. Kind of impression.
But while he's sleeping, the phone rings, and it's Richie. It's his brother. He's like, "Oh, it's been a while. So you're gonna come to me, or do I need to come over to you?" And then we just see him taking the pickup truck he just repaired, and make a 16-hour drive to Philadelphia. He's going back home to see his brother. And also just another neat little thing. He's like at this bar, and he has to meet some middleman who actually shows him where he needs to go, because they are organized crime, and they're probably being I don't know, being bugged by police or the government or whatever with everything they do. So he didn't tell him any specifics. Like, yeah, just meet at the bar. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a neat little detail that there's like a
Yeah.
middleman he needs to talk to that brings him to the actual house he's in right now.
Hmm.
Because even though it's his brother, they haven't talked to each other in like 20 years. So.
Yeah, yeah. It's an end of like, I mean, Richie thinks Joey's dead too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just has a little talk with this guy. So what are we doing now? It's like, well, you could finish your beer, and then I'll bring you to Richie. And he just pushes the beer away, and they make their way to Richie, who lives in a very big house, a mansion, basically.
Yeah.
And Joey even points out to him in a little bit, it's like, well, you're doing well for yourself. It's like, yeah, it's all right. But yeah, they make their way inside, and it's it seems to be all very chill at the beginning. It's like, oh, I got to frisk you. It's like, yeah, whatever. And he frisks him. He doesn't have a gun on him. Blah blah blah. It takes a little bit for those two to actually meet. It's like a lot of stuff with like, oh, frisk, drive here, and then Richie comes down the stairs like, oh, haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, as I said, it's just really chill. It's like, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. He gives a little kiss on the cheek. It's like, ah, you're my broheem. Blah blah. It all seems very civil, but you can tell it's like, something's up. Like, what's gonna happen? Because it's kind of interesting because Richie is definitely happy to see him because it's his brother, you know.
Yeah.
But
he also knows what has to be done here, I guess.
Yeah, because as we now learn, it's like, yeah, what you did to Carl, that has led to a certain lack of respect and trust on my side, because it's like you took his eye with barbed wire. Like, that's just not gonna. You can't just cover this up, you know.
Yeah, and they specify that he was a made man too.
Yeah.
Like, so when you're made in the mafia, generally that means it's like you can't just kill this guy, and if you do, you can expect the whole rest of the mob to turn against you, because it's kind of like, I don't know, mafia NATO.
He had to do put a lot of work in to actually get back to where he is now. It took him a lot of time.
And he says he's still behind the 8 ball, so he's like, I've still not made up for what you did. I'm like, no one, like, it basically cost me all the permanent opportunities I would have, because no one's ever going to consider me for the top slot as long as you're like alive. And yeah, that's kind of brings it to why Richie wants him here.
Yep, pretty easy to understand and concise. Makes a lot of sense. Anybody also asks, just like, do you enjoy married life? Like, is it worth it? It's like, I think it's worth it now. I do. It's like he seems like he had to understand if it's worth it in the beginning, but he came around, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it might have not been till he had kids, really.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, you know what? I just like to fuck around. I don't think I could decide to only take one
that would make me want to give up all the rest.
All of the rest. Yes. So many beautiful women. I don't know if I could not take all the other ones. And Joey's like, well, I'm here to make peace, so what can I do to make it right?
You can die, Joey.
You could die, Joey. And then you could already see the guy in the back getting out these
taking out the garrote.
Is garrote, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was just called a cable.
No, garrote.
Garrote, okay.
Yeah, if you play the Hitman games,
that's where I know it from. I never realized it had like a proper name.
I feel like I learned that from the Hitman.
You
games.
might have. I haven't played Hitman in ages, so.
I gotta play that new trilogy. I hear it's really good.
Oh.
But I played the living hell out of Blood Money on 360.
Nice.
The only one mission I couldn't get Silent Assassin on was the one in Colorado, because the only way that I can imagine killing that person in a huge crowded party without anyone seeing is by shooting out the glass bottom of the hot tub in the mountains. And it means you have to shoot. So off the bat, you lose Silent Assassin because you used a gun. So I'm just like, well, I don't know. Can I I really just wanted to blow up the glass. Like, would anyone really notice my gunshot if all of a sudden the guy who owns the house is falling off a mountain from a hot tub with a bunch of, I guess, other people that I didn't necessarily want to kill, but you know, they were there.
That's collateral. It's fine. But yeah, and then we get to the last action scene in the movie. Yeah, because the one guy starts using the groat. Let's see if I can remember that next time that thing comes up.
Garrote, I believe.
Sure. There's no way I'll remember that. Not the spelling. But yeah,
I just meant to maybe you could picture the spelling in your head might help you to pronounce it. Like, just I find sometimes that works for me. But if I'm just hearing it phonetically, I'm like, wait, well, what if I'm not hearing that person correctly? Or especially because we have different accents.
Right.
So I'm always gonna say things a little bit differently than you will, regardless.
Oh, dude, I've been exposed to so many different accents. It's just American, British, Scottish.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got a hell of a lot more languages and accents in close proximity to you.
Oh yeah. Then we have the real horrible German accent. So if there's anyone out there who's bothered by my accent, you should hear like a thick German accent when they start talking English, where they don't do the correctly, do like the, which fucking pisses me off when I hear it these days.
The old
I've been talking English for so long that if someone does like this weird it's just like, oh, I just want to correct these guys.
Like they say Z-E instead of T.
Yeah. Z. It's like, oh, gross.
There's no Z in that word, damn it. And yes, Americans, it's Z, not C. Dragon Ball Z still though, because that's like a proper title.
Right.
Not my choice. That's Akira Toriyama's choice.
Yeah, you could die, Joey. Oh, it's probably worth pointing out. Richie really doesn't want him to be dead. Like you can see,
yeah, he can't even look.
He's got tears in his eyes. Like you could die, Joey, and he just turns around as you just said. Yeah. But Joey already knows what's up. He even protects his
neck,
his neck with his hand, and he just kind of pushes himself away, wrestles himself out of it, kicks the one guy away, and Richie's like, "What the fuck? Did they actually do this?" He's like annoyed that he's just fighting his way off.
Yeah, he can't believe that he actually like took out two dudes that were armed while he was unarmed and taken by surprise. He's like, how? Ivano says it. He's like, how did you fuck that up?
Yeah, he goes like, how did you fuck that up? It's kind of fun.
And then he shoots them.
There's some plot armor here though, because Richie does not hit him like at all, which should be a pretty easy shot. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, he was shooting with one hand, and I think
from the hip. He's shooting from the hip.
Yeah, one hand from the hip, and Vigo's moving in a pretty bizarre way. Like he is kind of ducking and moving side to side, so I can kind of believe it. It seems like the range might have been better if the room were shown as bigger, but that might have just been a consequence of the set. So
yeah, it's a very classic plot armor thingy. I felt like it's like, oh yeah, he's shooting him, but he hits like closely past him or whatever, narrowly. Also he knocks down the one guy and just kicks into his throat basically while he's on the ground. That's probably not a good time. After Richie shoots, the other guy runs in with his gun, but gets his neck broken immediately.
Yeah, that was kind of a funny one. Almost.
That was pretty fun. That one was a bit comical because it looks so easy. Like breaking someone's neck is not easy.
Yeah, he effortlessly breaks a guy's neck as he's running by. Like that's
it's funny because
the most kind of comic book thing that happens in the movie.
That's like something that's how it looks when I pretend to break. It's like doing a meme at someone. It's like, I'm gonna break your neck, and like, it's like that was the exact motion. But yeah, now he's outside. We still have the one guy is not dead yet. So Richie and the other one goes outside. The door is open. And she's like, you know what? You're gonna go check over there. I'm gonna check outside because he might have done some fuckery. He might not actually be outside. And well, he is right because the door closes. He gets rid of the he overwhelms the other guy and shoots him in the face, in the chest, in the face. Sorry. It's kind of funny because Richie's like, oh damn, the door closed. So he kind of tucks the gun under his arm and gets his keys out. It's like, oh, now to open the door, and then the door opens up.
Funny.
Joey just has the gun at his
Jesus,
face. He's like,
Joey.
Jesus, Joey. And
like, I mean, what's funny is there's pathos for Richie there too, because we know that he did not want to kill Joey. He just felt like he had to, otherwise he'd end up dying himself, especially once it's found that Joey's still alive. And he just can't believe that this night ended with Joey killing him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, oh, you can't, like,
That's kind of interesting because he really wants to be the top dog, Richie.
Yeah.
Even though he's already clearly doing very well for himself. He has like this big house he lives in. He has his own bodyguards. But all the respect and trust he had, he wants that back. And the only way he can do this is by killing his own brother, which he really doesn't want to do, but he really wants to have, I guess, the respect of his mobster peers.
Well, and I mean, like, and he does kind of put it as like, Joey, like, you put me in the worst position. Like, you don't even understand what you were doing to me when you decided that Fogarty needed to die, or like that you needed to send a message to him or whatever it was, because I had no say in that, and I've just been kind of cleaning up your mess for the last 20 years. So like, he has like a reason to be like, look, like, I didn't start this. And I would like my life to actually be able to just pick up from where it left off when you left me a big mess to deal with. And it doesn't go too well for Richie, because ultimately I think he probably should have picked his brother.
Yeah.
Because I mean, ultimately, had he just said, okay, I'm gonna let you go, I'm gonna tell them I killed you though, so make sure that you don't ever be seen again. Like, you need to not be Tom Stahl anymore. Like, go into witness protection. He could have done that, but he didn't. He did try to kill him. So, and at that point, well, he started a fight with the killer. So that's how this is gonna end if you don't kill him first.
Oh boy. So yeah, he goes to the big pond. Well, it's more lake. I just saw how big it is. I remember it as a pond, but it's a lake at the house. He throws the gun in, starts washing himself off with some water. I don't know if there's like a baptism kind of dealio going on here that they're trying to portray.
Yeah, like a cleansing, like washing Joey off of him. Like, the imagery is pretty simple to understand, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, no, like, hell, even just literal wise, I mean, cleaning yourself up if you're covered in blood is probably a decent idea, and doing it not in your house is likely the best way to avoid possible damning evidence being found if someone ever gets wind of the fact that you were there and you might have been the guy who killed them.
But yeah, we go to the last scene. We just cut to Tom going back to his house. And we see that the three, Sarah, Jack, and Edie, they have some dinner. There's a nice little dinner, and he gets in, and everyone's like, oh, fuck, he's back. Because they were probably thinking he just fucked off after everything that happened, and they just gotta deal with what's going on now. But no, he's back, and he has his head down, and everything's like, well... And nobody says a word in this scene, by the way. They just kind of...
totally dialogue free.
Look at each other, and everyone's like, okay. Like, it's very tense. Like, Edie is not even looking at him properly right now. She's kind of looking his way, but towards the ground, you know? And he steps into the room, and it's probably just wondering, it's like, yeah, it's a stare of, so you're gonna accept me back, or what's happening here? And at first, nobody's looking, and the person who actually looks at Tom is Sarah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because I'm not even. She probably doesn't even really understand what's going on. Like, she's very
she has
young.
No idea what's going on.
She's sort of like, "Oh, Daddy is back. Here, let me put," because she grabs the extra plate of the cupboard, And it's like, here is your plate and
Sets it up for
cutlery.
him, yeah.
Sets it up. It's like, hello. She's like, yeah. And yeah, Jack is still not really but Edie's just looking down at her plate. Jack is just kind of looking at Edie. Is like, I don't like. See, this is like one of these things where I would just wish I could just show the full scene and then talk about it, but
Yeah.
because it's just no dialogue. I just like when things like this happen. You can just tell what's happening without a word being uttered.
Well, if we ever get the budget to do a Metals Forged live and rent out a venue and actually show the full clips,
Yeah.
do an extended episode. Make sure we pick a really good movie.
Because yeah, Jack's just kind of looking around. Edie's still looking at her plate. Jack is looking at his mother, and it's like, I don't know, but he ends up taking the plate. I think it's a meatloaf. Doesn't matter. He just takes it and presents it to his dad. It's like, yep, there you go. Have some food.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom is still like, kind of like, oh fuck. It's like, I guess they're taking me kind of back. And the last one who actually looks up is Edie. Looks at him, and he looks back, both kind of teary-eyed because
their eyes are like really watered at this point.
And they just look at each other. It's like, yeah, it's gonna probably be tough, but we really all do love each other still.
Yeah, like we're a family, and well, like through thick and thin, we're gonna look out for each other, no matter how difficult things are. And I think that it's a pretty beautiful way to end a movie like this, where you could even make the argument that Joey might not still deserve any of this.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, well, but I mean, he's a father and now he has kids, and he's in a situation where he basically buried all the skeletons of his past just now. It wasn't easy and it wasn't clean, and his relationship with his family is never going to be exactly the same again. But you know what? You're a family, so you stick together. And I guess the idea is that if you've got that if you are able to ever move on from something bad that you've done, you can become someone else. Like not as literally as happens in this movie, but I don't know, I saw just like a really cool kind of theme of redemption in this movie, where that it's like Joey is actually a persona which he killed and did everything he could to kill, and only came back when it was forced into his life. And everything he does, basically from the scene in the diner until the end of the movie, is just him trying to save Tom's life. Like no, I don't want to go back to being Joey. It's not like, oh, now my plan has been revealed, I'm now going to go back to Philadelphia and take my rightful place as leader of the mafia. It's like, no. It's like, no, like, you guys were the point. You guys were the end game the entire time. Like, not. Yeah. It's not who I am anymore, because I want nothing more than to be with my family. And I thought that was a really kind of nice little way to end this movie.
Yeah. It's just a theory. I was wondering. I wonder if you can read it in a different way here at the end. Because I think the way it's presented, you can read it in different ways. I don't know if that was the intention. But
maybe, yeah.
But
I got from it. But.
I mean, I'm on board with yours. Basically, I feel that's that's the one that I most agree with. I think, but I wonder if you can also read it as they like. Sarah doesn't really know what's going on. She just saw her dad come back. Like, she's pretty young. I don't know. I don't even know if she has got any info. But I feel like maybe Jack and Edie, they know he's like this crazy person to some degree. And they maybe take him back because they're almost afraid in a way. More taking him back because of a leader status, like in a more primal way. I don't know if that's the right word. But
yeah, I mean, that's a good word for it, I think.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, right? It's like, oh, he's back. So I guess just going back to the alpha male that the bully has been talking about this whole time. Like, oh, he's the alpha male, and now we're gonna take him back, and because we're afraid what he's gonna do if we don't take him back. Like, what if we just unleash this crazy killer onto the world if we don't keep him in the family, kind of way.
I mean, yeah, that could be a point too. Yeah. Clearly, he's quite skilled at killing people.
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't even know how this is actually gonna end up. Like, if we go back to the to the diner scene with the chef, where he's like, "Yeah, I didn't break up with her. I married her."
Yeah.
Even he says it holds 6 years. It didn't hold forever, but it did work out, even though they weren't trying. So there's always the possibility that in weeks, months, years, they're like, "Nah, it's too much. We just gotta go separate ways, and then whatever happens, happens," right? But I think it's very deliberately open, quote unquote, open ended. Obviously, they do take him back to some degree. How long and how well this is gonna work out is up for grabs, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if there's more theories floating around going on. Obviously, you have the very obvious discussion of, well, does he do deserve it though? Like, do 20 years of being nice actually wash away your sins of killing X amount of people in the first 15 years of your life, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, we have no idea what the moral implications of any of that were. We don't know how many of those were innocent people and how many of those were rival gangster guys.
Yeah. I think the implication is that there's also innocent people because he said Joey also killed for fun. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling there were definitely innocent people involved. Maybe some random guy in a bar fight they just stabbed to death or something like that, you know?
Yeah. So like plausible deniability of innocence, but ultimately like that's still murder because like he knew you were gonna kill him.
Yeah, because the moral is obviously, okay, we do know you kill people, so we should probably tell the police about your deeds. Because does murder a murder charge, can that just be given to you forever, or does that?
Yes,
I don't know what the
you
word
can
is when it
always
just goes away after a while.
limitations, but yeah, I believe murder has no statute of limitations. You can always be charged for a murder.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I wonder because obviously there's the there's so much. It's like a whole rabbit hole you can down to, like, about forgiveness and how far does it go? Because obviously it's like a whole discussion online. It's like, oh, should we actually like judge someone who said something spicy when he was 15 on Twitter because he said the N-word or whatever?
Well, I mean, I think the answer to that's no, but I know there are people out there who would argue.
Should we condemn them forever? Versus obviously this is
redemption.
This is straight up murder. Like, can this just be forgiven by not being a murderer for 20 years? Because the thing is, there's obviously serial killers out there who just stop for years and years and years. Then at some point they're like, oh, you know what? I could go for one more.
I could go for skinning a couple person or two.
Yeah. I think some of the most well-known killers did that. I've seen videos of those guys, but I just can't remember the names. I think Jack the Ripper actually did that. There was like a big pause in between killings. I don't know. I would need to double check, but I do know that there's multiple serial killers that took like big breaks where they thought, oh, nothing is happening, and then they just did it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. When it's in someone's nature, it sometimes doesn't go away, even if they maybe want it to.
Yeah. Who knows what else could happen in his life, and then he just goes on a fucking killing spree. I don't know. Someone hurts his daughter at some point, and it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna kill that family. They crossed my my family. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it could get pretty dark pretty fast.
Absolutely. What happens if his wife gets killed in a car accident? Like, what is he gonna do then? I mean, I guess he still has his children to look out for, but you never know how the human psyche reacts to certain scenarios, especially if you have like a history of violence. Hey, movie title.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a very interesting thing to talk about. But yeah, good movie. Go watch it.
Yeah,
it's
very good movie. Strong recommend.
It's a big old recommendation. It's just fun to talk about because there's lots of different theories and scenarios you can go through by watching this. I just like the power level aspect of killers versus wannabe tough guys and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just fun. I do it might be my might be my favorite scene when the bully just flips off the two killers and they just
Yeah.
stare holes in them. They're like, oh
Yeah.
fuck us.
It's like, yeah, no, this is a real tough guy.
Yeah.
I gotta run away.
And it's a thing. You can tell, like, some people, when you look at them, it's like, oh, they've burned through some shit. Like, the way they behave themselves or just hold themselves in public or whatever. And I think the way they presented this by just making them look pissed off at the bully,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's
Pissed off in a way that they do not seem even a little bit intimidated
No,
by the kid.
no.
Like, they're not on edge. They're not like, what's this kid gonna do? Is he gonna do something stupid? They're just like, I'm looking at you like you're a fly blocking the doorway I want to
Yeah.
walk through.
And now buzz
Get
off.
out of my way, or I am gonna swat you.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you see it so many times just online. I mean, the phrase "fuck around and find out" has been very popular these days. And
I mean, yeah,
there's really funny videos out there where they try to do these pranks and they just get choked out because they fucked with the wrong person or whatever.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, fuck around and find out.
Well, I mean, there was always that famous one of the, I think it was like a high school video that was being filmed for like a yearbook or something. And I think they're interviewing like some basketball player or something. Like, it's a really, really tall black dude. And this guy in like a werewolf mask like pops out of a garbage can and the dude just right hooks him immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And he falls back into the garbage can.
Yeah, I mean, that's a reaction you have
found that one
to
pretty
have
funny.
to take into account if you do a scare prank like this.
Yeah.
Especially,
Like, no, well, lots of people's first instinct is to hit something that's jumping out at them and scaring them.
yeah. I mean, imagine you have someone who's like I don't know, like an MMA fighter or just a boxer or something, and just fucking gets you with a mean right hook, knocks you the fuck out. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Fuck around and find out. That's how it goes. But yeah, fun movie. Go watch it. It's an easy watch as well. It's very
80
interesting.
minutes. Like, yeah, it's not even an hour and a half, and
I ju-
there's a
it's-
lot of story and character in that small time frame.
It's always so nice
Movies do
when
not-
when I see there's a movie that's like 90 minutes. Like, oh, I miss
Yeah.
those times. Because all the movies that are not all the movies, but most of the movies that are 2 hours, 2.5 hours these days, like you don't
Do
need
not
that time.
need to be.
You have an
Even
hour more than
Godzilla X Kong, which we'll be talking about a week ago if you're listening to this when it
Yeah.
airs, and tomorrow if you're either of the two of us. But yeah, no, like the idea that movie had probably about 25 to 30 minutes more content than this one, and told so much less. Like is crazy, because you just gotta think, man, like it's not quantity, it's really not, it's quality of writing that makes for a good story and a good movie.
Absolutely. But yeah, you got anything else about this one? But I
No, as this is airing, I will probably still be hanging out in Las Vegas. So yeah, if you're at the airport, I might be around there, because
Oh my
I am
God.
flying home today, but I will not be home until after the episode's aired, because we're taking a red-eye flight.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep on the plane.
I'm probably gonna be in chat right now. Hello, me. How you doing? I don't know.
I'll
if
do
I'm-
my best to be in chat. Yeah, I might be there too. Hey, Mark, what's up?
Hey,
Oh, hi,
yo.
Mark. Yeah, see, I got to do it. Oh, there we go. I got oh, hi, Mark all the time. I just got to do it right now.
Oh my God, you could just say hello to yourself. But yeah,
Yeah.
good times. Yeah, no, good talk was good times. As this is going live, this would be the 14th of April. Yes, I think that's
That sounds
correct.
about right. Yeah.
Next week, when you see this live, we will be talking about Dragon's Dogma 2, finally.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about there. Microtransactions, performance, releasing products in a good state.
Yeah, but also
obviously-
a good video game, like.
But also
it's
being a good
both.
video game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I've been in over the past, I guess, 3 weeks now that you guys are listening to this a week after we're recording this, I've been in a whole hell of a lot of arguments with Dragon's Dogma people, and like they can't seem to wrap their head around the fact that I like the game because I'm criticizing the performance and the
Yeah.
microtransactions a lot.
I haven't
And
played
like,
it
oh
since
yeah,
the.
you clearly haven't played any of it. I'm like, I got 53 hours in, and I've finished it with the true ending. Like, what do you mean I don't know what I'm talking about with this game?
I'm curious to
I
play
at
it
least
because
know a little.
I haven't played since I came back from a vacation because I got sick right after. So I haven't played in like a week. So I haven't even checked out the game since the patches. But I heard the patches actually have done some
At least, yeah,
good stuff.
the first big patch definitely cleaned up my performance in towns. Or sorry, in the field. It didn't really do much for towns. It made it slightly better, but it's still kind of atrocious anytime you get into an area
Right.
with a bunch of NPCs nearby. But yeah, it got much more playable to the point that I didn't want to just burn through the story either. Like I leveled up 3 vocations to max and started working on a 4th and a 5th. So you know, there's good stuff there, and this probably could have been an Elden Ring style like smash hit of the year, locking game of the year in the first few months of the year kind of deal, like Elden Ring did, or like
Right.
Breath of the Wild previously. But because of the nature of it, it's not as easy to celebrate so unanimously. So I think that is a disservice to the game, and I think if you're a fan of Dragon's Dogma, you should be upset that Capcom put this game in this position, not defending them for it.
Well,
But we'll talk more about that next week.
what was to say? There's your little preview to what we're going to talk about next week.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of ammo for this game, man. I think I could talk about it for a while. This might be a long man episode.
That's fine with me. But yes, that concludes this week's episode. Fun times. And yeah, there's going to be one more pre-recorded one because I'm not around at the end of the month. Because somehow, since we, or before we agreed to do this together, the Forge, every time, we both had a lot of things planned, apparently, which
Well,
obviously-
and then sometimes things come up on a
Of
Sunday
course, yeah.
that we don't see coming, and it actually might not be a bad idea to have like 1 or 2 pre-records just stocked up that we can use in case something comes up last minute.
for sure,
Because
for sure.
we are going to do our best to just not miss a week if we can avoid it.
That's the idea. And it's always fun to just go back to watch some of the old stuff. While also talk about the new stuff, because the new stuff is mostly pretty bad. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I think like there's got to be a lot of people who are interested in new movies that just a movie about a guy who runs a diner from 2005 might be something that slipped by their radar. And hey, now you know it's a movie you really should watch like immediately because it's great.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed this episode. You got anything going on specifically over on your end, Marc?
No, probably just coming back from Vegas. I'll likely be streaming something. Oh, I guess a few days, the week after I'm back, the Friday after I'm back, Stellar Blade is coming out. I've
Yes.
actually been playing it the entire time we've been recording this episode, just working through the demo,
Oh.
trying to unlock some skills because
Nice.
they do the apparently now typical Korean thing of releasing a demo that you can play and unlock skills and get money and things like that, and then carry on your save file to the full game. Liza
Nice.
P did the exact same thing.
Very
And
good.
yeah, I think this is very much shaping up to be the Liza P of this year. I really wish it wasn't exclusive. I wish I could play it on PC because it, like, I don't know, just I don't want to have to buy a game twice. And while this game does run great and runs really nicely on PS5 in its performance mode, I have no complaints about its performance. It's still running at a much lower resolution than I could be running the exact same game on my device that's right next to my PS5. And this is like, again, Liza P was multi-platform. It was on Game Pass at launch, and I think that helped it
Yeah.
quite a bit. So Stellar Blade is lucky as all hell that it's getting the press that it is because of how
Oh,
hot
yeah.
Eve and Taki are, because I think it being exclusive would have been a real problem for it otherwise.
But Marc,
because-
boobs are bad for you.
No, they're not.
They're really
I've
not.
never been on team boobs are bad for you. I'm married to X-Ray Girl, damn it.
Wow.
Although the X-Ray Girl Taki memes have been going around and they've been
I've seen
pretty
a
funny.
couple of them. They're fun. Enjoyed those.
Taki is one of the characters from Stellar Blade, everybody, and she
Mm-hmm.
resembles my wife at least slightly. She doesn't seem to see it, but a lot of other people do, including me, which I'm comfortable with. I find both
I'm okay with
Tacky
this.
and both Tacky and my wife are very attractive Asian women.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Later.